Are you ready to talk some wrestling? Because that's what we're doing on this episode of the Totally Awesome Podcast, featuring your host, your Colonial Champion Sean McCarty, the Bay Area Brawler Skylar Greenberg, and of course the one and only JoshAgeddon.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Totally Awesome Podcast. We will be reviewing AEW Revolution, unfortunately, in just a moment. But since Sean always does the intro first for his channel, I'm going to record this before I even call him so I can get my intro in first. Take that, bro. I'm JoshAgeddon here, and it's just me for now, and I'm actually about to call Sean right now. Okay. You're about to hear some really loud ringing, so my apologies for that. Just typed and told Sean that I'm ready to go. There we are. Jonathan!
Ah! Sir!
Christmas, that was crunchy.
How do you feel?
Well...
Have I cured your sickness?
Actually having supper rejuvenated me, because that show almost put me into the grave.
Dude, I literally was like, I need to get out of my house for like 3 hours. It was pouring. It's downpouring here today.
So it is here too. We had a severe thunderstorm watch today, and it's still ongoing.
Tonight. Yeah, ours is coming like late tonight. But it was okay, like at 1 o'clock, like right after I finished it. And I said to my mom, like, I need to get out of the house. Like, I'm gonna go shopping. So I did a whole bunch of errands and came back at like 4:30, and was like, man, I am so glad. And also, anytime we get a storm like this and I get these like pressure changes, I always get a headache.
Yep, me too. Whenever it rains, it makes my head hurt. I don't know why.
Man, what a bad day to watch Revolution.
What a bad day to have a Revolution.
I know.
When you're AEW, any day is a bad day to have a Revolution, apparently.
I know, but I already had the headache. You know, it's like I didn't need it to.
You had the headache, and then you pressed play.
Yes. To be fair, though, I actually enjoyed more of this show than I wanted to. But that does, so this is going to be I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this because I've been thinking about this podcast ever since ending the show. And we have not done an AEW review in a long time.
I haven't watched an AEW show in a long time.
Yeah, neither have I. I've never start to finish. I haven't watched an AEW, probably, 2022 maybe?
Damn.
I don't even remember the last one I watched full bore. That we reviewed.
It might have been Revolution, the one where Adam Cole came out as a Master Chief, kind of.
Yeah, I thought I saw one after that. Was it? It might have been the one right before Punk left. Not that night. I didn't see that one. It was the one before that one. But that's the May show. Is that Double or Nothing?
Yeah.
2023.
The one where Punk won the world title.
I think that was the last one I saw.
The last one I watched was All In from last year. But I have not watched a single Dynamite. It is hilarious to me that Collision still exists, and I have not watched the pay-per-view.
Watching those would help us understand what happened on this show.
No, 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 absolutely not.
That's the funny part about it.
There's nothing that can help you.
There's no context to extrapolate.
And that short that I put up of me recording which we'll get into, which was me yelling about the ads that were covering the screen. Some dipshit was arguing with me. It was like, I thought this show was amazing, and I was like, dude, this company is just throwing shit at the wall, and 1/10 of it kind of sticks. So if you like shit splattering everywhere, then that's your prerogative.
Hey, I got a buddy of mine who works at the grocery store who actually saw, funnily enough, and talked about Revolution. And he he's an AEW fan, not like a completely dedicated AEW fan, because like he stopped watching the Dynamites. He's just like couldn't stomach it anymore.
I know that he's not a completely dedicated AEW fan because you talk to him outside of his own house.
True, very true. And but he still likes AEW, and he said he really wanted to watch it, and for him, for AEW standards, he liked that show. That's kind of the overall point of like for what they do and for what they like. I could see AEW fans liking this AEW version of this AEW show.
Okay, I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off. You want to know what's kind of hilarious?
What's that?
The fact that I've been recording since before I called you, so we've kind of been reviewing the show without you even knowing that we're reviewing the show.
Well, allow me to put that Band-Aid back on, sir. And inform you that
Why do we keep doing this to each other?
I do. And now you have seen the most convoluted casual conversation intro to both the Court Martial podcast as well as the Totally Awesome podcast. So awful, not as awful as AEW, but so awful it might just make you tap out. I am your Colonial Champion Sean McCarty alongside the incomparable JoshAgeddon to review Revolution 2026.
Guys, we did not plan this. We did not say a fucking word to each other.
Not at all. Not at all.
For those of you that didn't hear that from me laughing hysterically, Sean also started recording before he even called me. So, literally like how on TAW I had the Joker wrestle a match, and on CIW the Joker was supposed to wrestle but he didn't show up, and we had that on the same day because we have the same brain.
It is. We've been doing this for so long. This is 9 years of wrestling reviews, JoshAgeddon.
Why don't we get married already? It's common law by now.
No, we got to wait one more year. 1 more year. 10 years is common law. I've looked it up. Okay. In any case,
is it state by state? Is it all the same?
I'm not sure. That's you're gonna have to ask a scientist or something. But we will get to the science of wrestling a little bit later. Let's start out. Let's start out by saying, I'm sure you're all wondering, where is the Bay Area Brawler, Skylar Greenberg? Doesn't he love AEW? The short answer is yes. He is so passionate for AEW, he left the state AEW was having their show in and left the country for Italy because his passion for AEW was so much. He didn't want to explode all over AEW and steal their thunder by being in the same country at the same time. So, Skylar, I let you know that Tony Khan is very grateful for your sacrifice. You're on this side. JoshAgeddon and myself.
I love the insinuation that Skylar was so offended that they had a show right next to him that he didn't just leave the state, he left the country.
He's like, I want absolutely no part of All Elite Wrestling.
Oh, God.
So, Skylar, we miss you, but enjoy Italy, and I think we will get on without you. But you were spared by leaving the country.
Yes, you were.
As both Joshua and I, as we both discussed just a second ago, had to leave our house or question our life choices or get something good to eat in order to soothe and put a balm on the wounds that this show caused.
Can I just tell you guys what the last week of my life has been like?
Yes, please do.
I caught a terrible stomach virus on Thursday. Thursday night at 10:30, I started projectile vomiting, and it didn't stop until 6 that morning. I slept the entire next day. The day after that, me and my girlfriend broke up, and then this guy makes me watch AEW today.
Oh, wait, hold on a second.
I'm dropping lore here.
The breaks. No, that's not accurate lore. I said I'm going to watch Revolution, and that was last week. And you said, are you going to review it? I said yes. And you said I will watch it with you. This is your fault. I did not hold you against your will to review this show. You are equally as complicit. But that being said,
I wonder how I was able to start recording this by pressing the record button while I'm bound in handcuffs. with my eyes taped open in front of the TV screen with the AEW logo in front of me.
Because like AEW, I use the leg braces for handcuffs, so you actually had full hand mobility to do whatever you wanted.
God.
No, AEW Revolution.
Wait,
Let's talk about
actually, before that, wasn't there something else you wanted to discuss before we got into Revolution? Something else that happened?
Do you really want to get into this OVW thing? We have a lot of Revolution to talk about.
We'll touch on it very quickly, because I do want to touch on it.
Yes, okay, so...
Skylar's JoshAgeddon's News of the Week intro.
Coming straight to you from the
Heath Springs, South Carolina.
This is the Wrestle News with
JoshAgeddon.
This is the Court Martial podcast and JoshAgeddon's News of the Week. This has just been going on. This happened, Wednesday night, I think, of last week, if I recall. OVW had a show, and they were doing a tag match of some description, I think it was. And there's this referee, Dallas Edwards, who's not very large, but that's kind of irrelevant to the story.
This poor guy.
This poor fucking guy.
Dude.
This guy, this blonde, long-haired wrestler comes off the top and he hits him with a kick of some description that hits him in the mush, and then he falls and his head hits the back of the mat hard.
Not only that, but it looked like the dude was going for like a phenomenal forearm, but not only did he land hard, the dude landed on top of him too.
Yeah.
Like awkwardly.
And it doesn't take very long to see that Dallas is like seizing up. Like, for the football fans out there, it was a Tua Tagovailoa where his hands just turned into, actual angry claws. And he was, and he's laying in the middle of the ring. And one of the wrestlers kind of gets out of the way, and then a couple of the others just keep doing their spots, and nobody's paying attention to this guy, who's now starting to tease. One guy's on the other side of the ring going like, should we do something, but does nothing. And then as the guy is continuing to seize up, they're still trying to do spots. All four of them get into the ring, and one idiot looks at this guy, and instead of going to help this man who is now, his leg is shaking, his head is shaking, it is visibly shaking, it's uncomfortable. This guy fucking kicks him to the side of the ring so they can keep doing their shit. There was no Al Snow there, and it took like 90 seconds for somebody to finally start getting into the ring and taking care of this guy. And he went to the hospital. He has a concussion and a brain bleed, but he's pretty well off, so he can pay his medical bills. But he's actually in very good spirits about it. And God bless this guy, because he could have easily gone a different direction with it, like his mom, who is pissed.
Understandably.
Rightfully so.
There's no way you can watch that video and not get infuriated.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but here's the thing is, let alone the guy who kicked the guy who, by the way, were this me, I don't care whether you were the guy looking from the side. I don't care if you're the guy who was just kind of in the corner, just looking around. All four of those people in the ring fired on the spot.
Yep.
Because if you don't have the awareness as a human, put the wrestling away for a minute. If you don't have the human being awareness to recognize that somebody is fucked right next to you and needs medical attention, is having a medical emergency, you should not be in a business that requires unconditional trust with another person.
Agreed.
Period. End of sentence. And where the fuck was Al Snow? Where the fuck was he?
Running his mouth off on social media.
Making Waffle House jokes the next morning, and it was only when it started blowing up everywhere and started becoming national news that then he had to make a statement. And I want to read to you this statement from Al Snow, if it's still up, because this is the most bullshit statement I have ever heard in terms of what happened. And folks, it's an uncomfortable watch, but I do recommend watching this video and then Listen to this is what Al Snow had to say, because I actually did come prepared to do this. So here we go. And stop me anytime, Joshua, when you have a comment to make about what he says.
Before you do, I just want to say one thing that really stuck out to me while watching that video was how the crowd reacted. Like, the crowd was kind of into the match, but the second that referee started twitching, the whole crowd went quiet. You could feel how uncomfortable, and like, as the dude was twitching and they were still trying to wrestle, you could feel the crowd going, excuse me.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just the people watching, it was the people that were there that were like, you're just gonna wrestle while this dude's having a fucking seizure. Really.
And I know that it's a wrestling school and it's all about that, but still, you have to be smarter than that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be smarter than that. And here's the statement from Al Snow. And stop me anytime when something pisses you off or you have a comment to make.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. Now, keep in mind, this was 2 days after the incident and only after it blew up on social media. Hello, everyone. This is Al Snow. I want to speak directly to our fans and the wrestling community regarding the incident involving referee Dallas Edwards at last week's event. By the way, that was 2 days earlier, not last week. So I don't know who's proofreading this.
Good job, Al Snow.
Professional wrestling has always carried an inherent risk of injury for everyone who steps into the ring.
That's the
On March.
I'm already getting annoyed. Like,
Just wait.
That's not an excuse. Like, yeah, it's not ballet. We know. It's wrestling. Even, like, amateur wrestling is dangerous. Sports are dangerous. We're not stupid. We know.
On March 12th, during a live OVW television event, Dallas was involved in a planned moment of physical contact with a wrestler that resulted in him suffering a head injury. Traditionally, when an in-ring injury occurs, the referee is the central point of communication, assessment, and decision-making. In this unprecedented situation, we'll get back to that in a second.
Unprecedented, you say? A referee has never been hurt during a show before, Sean. Did you know this?
The person who would normally make that assessment was the one who needed assistance. That unforeseen breakdown in communication contributed to a delay in stopping the match and concluding the show. Bullshit. You're telling me there's not a single person back at whatever they constitute as Gorilla, which if it's just a high school is just a curtain. I don't care. There's nobody there that was watching that and went, something's wrong.
If it were me and I was one of the guys in the ring and I saw if I'm talking to the referee and we're just going through the match and the referee starts having a seizure, I'm stopping what I'm doing. Like, at this point, I don't care about kayfabe. I care about the guy that's seizing. And I'm going to be like, all right, guys, let's stop. Can't you just, wave off what you're doing? I've never wrestled in a ring before, but I feel like that kind of unprecedented circumstance would necessitate going all right, we just need to stop.
Yeah, that's what pissed me off about this probably more than anything else before I continue, is him saying this is an unprecedented situation. Al, you know plenty about wrestling history to know that is the most bullshit statement I have ever heard. Tim White's refereeing career nearly ended because of a Hell in a Cell ref bump. But injuries happen to referees as a shoot constantly.
Sean, I actually know of...
hurt his rib because John Cena chucked him halfway across the barricade.
Sean, I actually know though. I know.
Sorry, not John Cena. That was Goldberg. Of course it was.
Sean, I know a perfect example to put up against this one. Do you remember Survivor Series 2009?
Mostly.
The first match was a traditional Survivor Series tag team match. I think it was Team Miz versus Team Morrison. Sheamus was in that match, and I think he was going after Finlay. And at a point, the referee, I think it was, what was the referee? Scott Armstrong. Scott Armstrong was getting up, and it was a complete accident, but Sheamus accidentally kneed him in the back of the head and concussed him. You know what they did? They didn't just continue wrestling around Scott. They rolled Scott out of the ring carefully, kept the camera off of him, got him medical attention, and had another referee come in.
Yeah, and and that was another thing before we continue on with this and the kind of the same situation. There is probably some valid argument to be made that the talent are probably told, because they watch WWE, when something like that happens, you want to keep fighting to kind of divert the attention away from the medical attention given to the guy involved, which is fine, but then leave the fucking ring.
Yeah.
Don't just hover around the body and then move the seizing human being in order to do your spot in the center of the ring where you planned it. It's like there's something, but anyway.
And even then, like, even while they were still stupidly wrestling around his body, no one was coming from the back, like, at all, for like minutes and minutes.
At all. And you could tell, at least from watching the camera, you could tell instantly something's wrong.
Yes.
There's no excuse for the delay that it took.
No. It doesn't matter if there's any kind of delay. There's no excuse whatsoever.
Well, here's the rest of Al Snow's statement. We are relieved to hear that Dallas is recovering and receiving the medical care he needs. Our thoughts are with him, and we're hoping for his continued improvement. At OVW, the health and safety of our performers and officials has always been our top priority. It shows.
Could have fooled me.
We are proud of the standards we've maintained over the years, but we also recognize that there is always room to strengthen and improve. With that in mind, we are reviewing our existing procedures and updating several of our in-ring and ringside protocols to ensure that we continue to meet the highest expectations of performer safety. And here's the ringer sentence here. These updates include enhanced communication systems, like what? Additional referee training, don't get concussed.
Yeah.
Dipshit. And expanding ringside response measures to help ensure that a situation like this is identified and addressed as quickly as possible. We appreciate the concern and passion from our fans, and we understand the importance of transparency during moments like this. We just won't happen to give any in this statement. No, that was me. That wasn't the actual statement. We will continue to share updates when appropriate, and we ask everyone to keep Dallas in your thoughts as he continues his recovery so the heat does not get back to us. Thank you, Al.
Also, Dallas, please don't sue us. Also, Dallas's mom, please also don't sue us, please.
That's what I think they should be afraid of. I think Dallas is probably going to be very compassionate. His mom will rain a sea of fire on their ass.
Yes.
And you know what? I hope they do.
Yep.
I hope they make that British private equity firm that bought this company regret they did it.
Whatever governor that was also in bed with this company has apparently since withdrawn his support from that company because he didn't want any on him.
And I used to respect Al Snow as one of the minds of the business, whether anyone of value came out of OVW lately or not. I always respected what Al Snow had to say. There was some, I was never a fan of Hannibal, but there was a couple of videos, I don't think they're up anymore, where Al Snow did like a live training session, just on the psychology of wrestling. And it was on YouTube, and he had very good insights about wrestling. So I know he knows his shit, which makes this that much more damning. It makes this statement that much more bullshit because you know better, Al, and we know you know better.
Yep.
And this is just sad. This is just a sad state of affairs. And I'll tell you what, we're about to watch AEW Revolution and review that, but I guarantee you this, especially because Al Snow, like myself, said somebody's going to die in an AEW ring, which I still believe. But this is the point I'm making here is this. Nothing that AEW or WWE does hurts the wrestling business as a whole, quite like these indie promotions doing shit like this and Raja Jackson.
I was about to say, this reminded me of the Raja Jackson incident, where after he was nearly murdered, pummeled to death, this one idiot gets on top of him and pins him, and the referee counts the pin. I'm like, he's dead. How? Why? What are, your match no longer matters. We witnessed a crime.
Yeah. And it took a month for him to be arrested.
Yep. I'm honestly surprised that he even got arrested, if you want me to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, no, I don't know whether he's actually going to jail or not. That's
probably
a different
not.
Story. He might, but the point here is that this is the shit that makes wrestling look bad. Not the pizza guy, not Gage, not as bad as you think, Nick Gage. That stuff is bad, but nothing hurts wrestling's reputation like shit like this.
So, moral of the story.
Because if this is the future of wrestling's, if this is the crop that's coming up, the wrestling business is fucked.
Moral of the story, indie wrestlers out there. When something like that goes catastrophically wrong in the middle of the ring, stop the match. Your match no longer matters when someone's life is literally at stake. We've now had 2, not 1, but 2 unconscious, hurt, nearly dead people in the ring, and people still trying to wrestle around them because they got to get their shit in.
Or no, when was it? What was it? August that happened with Roger Jackson? Because that was at Clash in Paris, so it was right around then.
Yeah,
that happened. So yeah, so we're talking within 1 calendar year, 2 incidents like that. Like, get your shit together. And by the way, kind of just to compliment what you said and say it maybe a little more succinctly, be a fucking human.
Yeah. Use your brain.
And when you are in this is why I would blacklist all 4 of these wrestlers in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And if Al really wanted to save face and make good on that, that's the first thing I do. You really show that you actually take it seriously, what happened on this night. Show some accountability for what was done.
And
because if you don't do that, then there's no real accountability, no matter how much lawsuits and shit that you get yourself into legally, because then it's just you've condoned the near murder. I mean, even in the statement, it almost seems like he was alluding to it being partially Dallas's fault that he had his head caved in and turned into mush.
Yeah.
It's like, so at least with Tony, we know his brain is rotten just from his own volition.
Yeah.
He did it to himself. And well, maybe a few extra substances, but it wasn't because of a kick to the head.
Well, the substances that he put in himself.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, the bottom line is throw those prayers up for Dallas Edwards as he continues his recovery, and nothing but goodwill and to him, who didn't deserve any of this.
Yeah. It was just a bump gone wrong that got made way worse by the idiots that he's unfortunately working with.
Yes.
And my final note on this, it's also really sad that this is what made me go, wait, OVW's still a thing?
Well,
because I genuinely
know about it.
I genuinely had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I get little Facebook algorithm stuff thrown in here and there. I don't watch any of the content, and now I know why.
But speaking of content that you don't want to watch,
yeah, here comes a long form content because it's AEW Revolution. As
doesn't Revolution like infer that there's motion of some kind?
Well, there were a lot of moves happening. You can't deny there were a lot of moves happening.
Sure, I guess.
But let's start with your overall thoughts, and I'm going to let you talk for a little while because I'm about to lay out the whole pre-show for you, so it's going to be a lot of me pretty soon. So give us your overall insight as to what you thought of Revolution 2026. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
That I'll describe it in one sentence. That's 5 hours of my life that I can't get back. Oh, it was a struggle, ladies and gentlemen. Like, you remember when you described the Royal Rumble as Royal Rumble in a can? This I would describe as same shit, different day. I've seen this show before. Every agonizing second of it. This is an AEW pay-per-view. It goes on for way, way, way too long. It is everything you've ever seen in wrestling all at once, constantly. It is a barrage of just throwing shit at the wall where hardly any of it even reaches the wall. It was long and painful and ow, and I don't like March. This has not been a good March. This show was marching me to my grave. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it at all. There was one match that I liked, and that was it. I will take WWE half-assing a 5 or 4 match show over this. I will, because at least WWE shows, as lifeless and sterile as they are now, and as much as they have no idea what they're doing, at least those shows don't last for 3 days.
Anymore.
That's what I'll say about Triple H. At least the pain stops at some point.
Yeah, I will say that the problem with WWE is that even though it's a 3-hour show, it sometimes feels like a 6-hour show.
Yeah. This was a 5-hour show that felt like a 10-day long show.
Well, and the reason we did this, because I'm sure there's some of you longtime listeners are going like, why did you even bother doing this? The reason is, I am completely broken now in terms of professional wrestling. I am just
despondent. He's waving the white flag.
Yes, the cause is lost, and it's like I'm singing Rule Britannia as the car slowly sinks into the water, and you can hear me singing as the bubbles fill up into my nose. But I'm trying to do a check-in on most of the wrestling going on in the world, and we're gonna do a check-in with Juggalo Championship Wrestling. We're gonna see what Vince Russo's doing. We're gonna go to TNA. We're gonna go to New Japan. We might even watch a AAA show, or maybe I don't know.
You can. I'm good. I would rather watch a women's tag match over a lucha match at this point. WWE and AEW are absolutely killing me with lucha wrestling.
I know, and we're going to get there.
Nightmarish.
Yeah. Well, but overall, that's the reason why we're doing this. Is that we're doing a check-in. Court Martial Pod, this is the Court Martial Podcast check-in series. Mm-hmm. And we're just seeing how everybody's doing. Because if we're going to bitch about WWE, we got to at least see what the alternatives are putting up against. That is the weirdest, most blocky way to say alternatives that I've ever said. But these alternatives, we had to check them out. And so I wanted to start with AEW Revolution because I figured, and I don't think I'm incorrect about this, that this was probably going to be the hardest to watch out of the bunch.
I hope you're right. I really do.
Me too.
Because if we watch something worse than this, I don't know if I'll survive.
This might be famous last words.
We won't be doing Save a Ref for CIW. We'll be doing Save a Us. Hashtag Save Us. Not Chris Jericho. Not Chris Jericho.
Give us money.
Give us money. Pay our medical bills.
That's right. But, well, this is as good a time as any to remember to like, share, and subscribe. Podcast. Might as well just get that out of the way now. Yeah. But anyway, this is why we're doing this, and that's why I decided I'm going to check in on AEW. And boy, I'll say this: this was a tale of two shows for me. The first half of this, including the pre-show, I liked. I didn't think it was as bad as it could have been. Mm-hmm. I mean, did it have AEW-isms in it? Sure. But it was better than I thought it was gonna be for what AEW is. Now, keep in mind, AEW's bar, the standard, is still miles underneath WWE standards. So when we get to this ratings, don't put these up and compare them to what we're rating WWE shows, because those are not even in the same pantheon of discussion. But the first half of this I actually liked. There was a surprise, even though one of the wrestlers in it just completely sucks ass, there was a match that had no business being as good as I thought it was. Mm-hmm. And then AEW showed up. And the rest of this show was hard. And now keep in mind, folks, as I've been doing before, I've been watching all these shows on 1.5 speed because I was curious. I was curious to see whether 1.5 speed would help AEW. And to some extent, it does. I will say that with confidence. To some extent, it does. But even still, this show with 1.5 speed on still took me 5 hours to get through.
Yes.
And that was with skipping a match and taking a break.
Dude, I started at noon. I ended at 5:30. and I skipped a match.
Yeah.
That's part of my problem. Why is every single AEW show a damn marathon?
Well, and the thing with AEW and the show is that it's not like they're doing backstage segments in between.
No.
They're going right into the next shit. They're just going match.
WWE doesn't do enough. AEW does way too much.
I know. We need these two companies to just do a fucking fusion dance and get it over with.
Yes, please. Knowing them, they'll fuck up the fusion dance and we'll get like the fat version of whatever their fusion is. And God knows.
No, we're going to get 12-hour shows of milk and match.
And you'll have to put it at like 2 speed.
Yeah, it won't be balanced. It's just going to be like stacked on top of each other.
Oh, God.
And that's going to be even worse. Can you imagine, you know what? A 24-hour WrestleMania.
Oh.
Just all day long. All day long, matches and milk.
No, I already watched WrestleMania 35. I'm good. I don't need that in my life ever again.
That was nearing 8 hours. That was really at its worst.
Even WWE, it's hilarious to me that after WrestleMania 35, even WWE was like, all right, we're never doing that again.
No, but they were forced to.
Yeah.
Because they had the pandemic just dropped.
Yeah.
It's a brand new album. And nobody expected that. That went straight to the top of the charts.
Oh, yeah. Everybody got a piece of it.
Yeah, COVID should have won a Grammy is all I'm saying. But anyway, I know I don't need to ask you this question, but I'm going to ask you this question. Did you watch the pre-show?
Sean, you don't need to ask me this question.
I just said that. Okay, so let me break it down for you because, quite frankly, I think that the pre-show had the 2 best matches on the show.
Okay.
Which is not atypical of AEW to do. Because the matches are simpler and they're more crowd pleasers. And they have defined heels and baby faces. And why they put the regular wrestling on the pre-show will never make sense to me. But they start. Well, here's the thing. I was not going to watch the pre-show. But then I saw how the main show started and figured I had to.
Yes, we'll get to that, by the way. Because was I in for a surprise.
Yes. You will run in when we get to this, but here's what I said at the very beginning. 10 seconds in, and Pyro, Excalibur screaming, but you can barely hear him. 3 wrestlers all chopping each other in the dark. Maybe I missed something? Question mark?
My exact thoughts as well.
This made no sense jumping into the show like this. But so I went back and I went to see the pre-show. And here comes the pre-show panel, which thankfully I skipped all the in-between stuff and them running down the card. I wasn't going to stomach that. It had RJ City, Renee Paquette, which was the only other time she was on the show, save for when she was there.
I genuinely don't even know at this point. Every time I see that woman or hear her name, it just makes me seethe with rage uncontrollably. I don't know why. I physically cannot stand this human being. Like, it makes me want to break out into hives.
Yeah. Well, thankfully she didn't last very long. And boy, could you imagine having hives on top of a stomach bug on top of watching this show? That would have sucked. But
tell Renee to stop. Imagine me getting sick and breaking out into hives, and the person that tends to me is Renee. I would just end it all at that point.
I don't think you'd get the medical treatment you need.
No. She'd make it worse.
But the third person on this pre-show panel, and this is the first of a few things that I think, you know, we were talking before about how Triple H, we're now heels to Triple H. Mm-hmm. I think Tony Khan was trying to make a pitch for me here, and it didn't work, Tony. But he catered to a few of my sensibilities on this show, and I think Tony was trying to take a stab at trying to win my heart over, and it just didn't work. But the third person on this panel, a wild slapnuts appears.
Oh, boy.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett, in a beautiful gold paisley blazer that I want. Because it was spectacular. Double J, you're very sharply dressed. I just thought I'd let you know that. Now, let's start the first match, which is a tag team match. And mind you, these 2 pre-show matches were my favorite. Mm-hmm. The Infantry, who is Carly or Charlie Bravo and Sean Dean with a whole bunch of motherfuckers around them and 2 hoochies. One of which named Crystal XO. I don't remember what the other one's name was, but she had the Mike Tyson part in the teeth. That's just a true story. And then I guess they were 2/3 of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions, just for what it's worth. It's not, but it's worth. But anyway, they come down, and Wayne Brady is here. And for those of you who know who Wayne Brady is, he is part of Whose Line Is That Anyway? He was in a very famous Dave Chappelle skit. He's a funny comedian. He's a good improv guy. He hosts Let's Make a Deal on NBC or whatever show it's on. I think it's CB, whatever. Daytime TV, all the old ladies love him. And he's there watching thing, and this woman who I didn't get the name of who the interviewer was, said, if you had a finisher, what would it be? And he said, the bitch slap. Keep that in mind. That would come in handy later, quite literally. So then I wrote down, and you're not going to get this, but somebody will. Does Wayne Brady have to choke a bitch? Hold on to that thought. More on that in a minute. I didn't even know Wayne Brady was a wrestling fan. And they are facing Boom and Doom, which is QT Marshall and Big Boom AJ with a whole bunch of motherfuckers and that fat kid, the Rizzler. Just wait. This kid was a part of my favorite part of the whole show. Just wait till you hear what happens. And the infantry, the third person in that group is Shane Taylor. So the match itself, the first thing I wrote down is, how the fuck does QT still have a job? That is amazing to me. You want to talk about job security. Is he just passing out donuts backstage? Like, how is he still here?
He's the pre-show stopper.
Yeah, no, how dare you besmirch the name of Ken Masters? Ken Masters on Colonial Impact Wrestling has a reputation.
Yeah, being on pre-shows.
Yes.
Thanks, Sagat.
But in any case, congrats on your marriage, by the way. We're spilling too much into Anyway, but QT Marshall still has a job. The ref won't let Big Boom AJ fly because he was not the legal man. So they did a tag, and Big Boom AJ tagged out, and in comes QT, and he does a few spots, and then they get thrown out, and Big Boom AJ is going to do a dive over the top. Now, he doesn't really look like much physically. He's fine. He did better than I thought he was going to, but the referee actually stopped him from going over the top rope because he wasn't the legal man, which was a strange time to enforce the rules. But there were rules. So I'm like, okay, fine. And so QT instead gets to dive over the top, and then they do typical AEW stuff, but it gets back into the ring pretty quick. The infantry, as they're walking over, they're like, oh shit, it's Wayne Brady. Like, they get starstruck for a minute. Hold on. Yes, go ahead.
Didn't Wayne Brady get RKO'd one time by Randy Orton on Raw?
It's possible.
I'm pretty sure he did.
It's very possible.
Yeah,
I don't remember
there was a cutting edge segment where Edge was talking to him, and then Randy Orton came out and just RKO'd Wayne Brady.
That sounds accurate.
All right, back to where you were saying. I just like that just came to me, and I was like, I must relay this important information from 2010.
Well, and so it's good to see the canon, established that Wayne at least was a wrestling fan before AEW. Thank God. But then this woman, Crystal XO, who's taller than everyone, by the way, taller than every single buddy here, she gets into this stare down with the Ritz cracker, the fat kid from John Cena's heel turn, the Rizzy boy who does this thing. They look really similar.
It would not be the first fat child we would see tonight.
No, it would not be. But then there's some sort of top rope attempt by one of the infantry that is missed, and then there's a legitimately good hot tag to Big Boom AJ. Now, keep in mind, there were good hits. There was no backslap tags. This match basically had structure, save for the very beginning, but they got back in. There was good tags. There was good heat by the heels. The heels got the tag first, and then AJ came in. They fed him really well. to, it rallied people up. It didn't last too long. Big Boom AJ did a full Nelson Uragi. He had a pretty good series of moves, actually. I was kind of impressed with him. Good power slam. The infantry fed him really well. Then QT did a double cutter that looked like ass. and I said at this point, man, this influencer / social media guy, AJ, looks better than Marshall. And Marshall's the one who's supposed to be teaching people.
I believe we have uncovered one of the many problems.
Yes. So then there's Brady and Shane Taylor as Shane Taylor goes over and he starts getting into it with Wayne. Wayne hits his finishing move, the bitch slap, and slaps him in the face. And then Shane Taylor throws Wayne Brady in, and
oh no. Oh no.
And then here comes the Rizzler.
Oh no.
Who does this little, like, he just like strokes his chins at
which one?
Both. And he sits there and he's showing his chin to Shane Taylor, and Shane Taylor looks at him and just pie faces the Rizzler and throws him down and hucks this kid into the barricade, and I died.
Okay, I kind of wish I saw this.
This was the comeuppance Nicholas deserved.
Yeah.
This was funny as fuck,
bro.
And then another, like, a teenager, like, guy of the group then tackled Shane Taylor, so it still got, and the crowd was into all of this, and it got a pop when this other guy came and tackled Shane Taylor, and then the AJ hits a big splash and a powerbomb neckbreaker combo, wins it. AJ hits his splash, and then there's a powerbomb neckbreaker combo that won it for the heels because he missed something. But the match was still good. Or no, I'm sorry. AJ hits a splash and wins it against the heels. I wrote that incorrectly. So QT and AJ win, and a kid was pie-faced into the barricade in one of the funniest things I've ever seen in wrestling. If you're going to have a kid get involved and he's down to do something like this, this is how you do it. And everybody celebrated in the ring, and the crowd was hot for it. And this got people excited. This was a good basic tag match that got the point across, and the people who are the influencers in this actually come out looking better as a result of all of it. It served a purpose. Not everything on AEW, as we will get to, serves a purpose. But this did, and I was really impressed with everyone involved, except for QT. He still sucks ass.
Dude.
And the infantry aren't bad. I think the infantry are being buried in Ring of Honor, and they could actually be a halfway decent tag team if they were given the opportunity.
You would have given WrestleMania 34 a 100 out of 10 if Sheamus just bro-kicked Nicholas right in the face.
Absolutely.
I would have too.
Because if that then rallied Braun Strowman to beat them both up, then that would have at least made the case for the tag happening, that even being placed. But the kid didn't do anything. Nicholas didn't do anything. If he had at least taken a bump to give forever motivation, that would have done something. And then giving up the title because he had school was also bullshit.
He will forever be known as a former tag team champion.
That killed that legitimately. Any legitimacy of that tag division was killed on that night, I maintain. And it had some times where it was revitalized, but, I mean, look at the state of tag wrestling now and tell me that didn't basically put the nail in the coffin.
Dude, this is the state of the tag team division. The Usos are the tag team champions, and they've been coming out to the ring for weeks now without the belts.
The state of the tag team division is that a match on the 0-hour pre-show of AEW Revolution was the best tag match I've seen in years. I wish I were lying.
Wow.
I wish I were lying. And I said, it wasn't a technical masterpiece, but I liked it, and so did the crowd. And when can you say that the crowd liked the tag match?
I didn't know that the crowd. I didn't know that the crowds. It was possible for a crowd to be like awake during a tag team match.
I know. And I said, if they had started the show itself with this and set the tone with this match, I think the whole rest of the show would have been more palatable. Honestly.
But no, we got to start the show in the middle of a match.
But we had a different tag match that then officially started the show. But we got another match before we get there. And this match was probably the best singles match I saw on the night that wasn't stipulated somewhat. And it was for the Hose title, the TBS title, as it is Willow Nightingale defending the belt against Colossal Lena Cross with the Megasis Megan Bayne. Now, Megan Bayne, funnily enough, is from North Haven, Connecticut, which is only a few minutes from my house. I would say probably like half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. And it's where A. Bizzle grew up. So fun facts about the Megasis. I think she doesn't have much of a brain, which is why she's in AEW rather than in developmental somewhere, because she's got a great look and she's here. So I will say this, Colossal Lena Cross, there's something you can do with her. Because she's kind of got a Camille-ish quality about her, and I do like the pairing of her and Megan Bayne, because they kind of do look, well, it depends on how you look at it. They could be the skyscrapers of the tag division, because there's a women's tag division in AEW now, which is robust, I'm sure. Or A-bust, I'm sure. Maybe that's the
Nice.
But thank you. But I like Willow, or at least I did a few years ago when I saw her. So let's see what happens. They started with a great collar and elbow tie-up. Lena was showing the power game against Willow. This wasn't bad either. This was pretty good for these two. She was showing that she was stronger than Willow. Willow jumped for a shoulder thrust a little bit too early. Like that. The Brock Lesnar shoulder thrust into the corner.
Yeah.
Where someone takes, and you kind of have to get a little bit of a jump so you can go, you can get your ass through the turnbuckle to make it look more devastating. She jumped a little prematurely for one of those, but I didn't hold it against her. There's an electric chair where she hangs Willow on the turnbuckle. Lena, that is. The crowd was into this. There was a clear heel in Lena Cross and a clear babyface in Willow Nightingale, something that you cannot take for granted in AEW. And I think that mattered too. I think the crowd was into this more than a lot of stuff on the rest of the night, because they could tell who they were supposed to cheer for. Imagine that.
I know. What a novel concept.
And so they continue on with this. Again, I didn't realize that these teams were going to fight for the tag titles later in the night. And I was like, well, that's stupid. But I think that tag match is better with the context of what happened on this pre-show. So the big story of this was Willow was selling her shoulder because it had been attacked over the past several weeks, and then Lena capitalized on it, put it into the ring post, shoved it on the announce table. And all while this was going on, Lena never left her feet the entire matchup. Like, Willow could not get her down. And Lena also, I'm kind of high on Lena Cross here. She knew when to slow the match down and to take a moment to absorb from the crowd. Not too long like WWE does, where it lasts several minutes, but enough to let Willow sell, and to let that sell. And Willow did a pretty decent job selling here as well. I will give her credit for that and selling that shoulder. Will is getting clear. She starts getting a comeback. Lena finally leaves her feet when Willow does a top rope basement drop kick, which I guess would mean it's a first floor drop kick, because you're like up the stair. Anyway, bad puns aside, several bad puns later. So Lena hadn't left her feet until that point, though, which was a good step of the story, because Willow was rather large herself, or portly as far as her figure is concerned, compared to most of the women on the roster. So showing someone who's bigger than her that Willow's struggling with to get off her feet, I like the story they're telling here. It makes sense, given what they're doing. And Willow gets cheers, and then she hits one of the gnarliest spine busters I have ever seen from a female wrestler ever. It was beautiful. And, only gets a 2, of course.
Yeah.
Then Lena tries to hit a reverse kick that was supposed to stop Willow from, I think, attempting another, whatever her finish was. And the reverse kick hit the air about a foot to the right of Willow, but it was the only time that Lena's shit didn't land, even though you definitively heard it land. But the camera didn't do this effect any favors. So I don't know which part of the thigh that Lena slapped, but it happened. Then we get power slap number 1 of many, where people are just in the middle of the ring and they're just chopping each other or forearming each other. That would be a theme on the night. This happens quite a lot. But it didn't last very long here, thankfully, because it wasn't like you hit me, I hit you. It was more just they were getting fatigued and it was back and forth. I could let it go. There was a beautiful TKO that Lena did that should have been it and wasn't. But right as I was about to say that this match needs to end, there was a series of misses from both ladies. Willow gets her with a backslide reversal of Lena's finish and wins it and retains her title. But it was a quick backslide and it left the room open for that Lena was not going to be damaged, considering that I think they're trying to push her somewhat, as evidenced by them winning the tag titles later. But I think even still as a single, they're trying to push her somewhat. But it was a shockingly good finish for AEW. By AEW standards, this finish made quite a lot of sense.
Okay.
And so well done, ladies, because this match, again, if this match was on the main show, I would have really liked it. But the selling of the shoulder and what she did here, I think made why that match later went so short, which I didn't mind, but it added further context to that match that kind of made that more of like the period at the end of the sentence, where I don't think you got that without watching the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a shame that it was on the pre-show, because if there was that disconnect, you would have lost it. But that's about where the peak of this match and the show was there. 2 matches into the pre-show.
Yeah. That's always a good sign.
But they also did right after this match and after the backslide, Megasis comes, because she's called the Megasis. That's just what I call her, because that's her. So she comes in immediately and attacks Willow. And Willow's partner, Harley Cameron, for some reason got entrance music, even though Megan Bayne didn't. And we're like, the music kind of killed the angle here. Because if Harley just came down and ran down the same way that Megan Bayne did, then you've got some urgency, instead of having the music kind of just preempt that. But that was a small thing.
That's a WWE-ism right there, because remember,
exactly.
As anti-WWE as AEW is, they still want to be WWE, and they're going to do what Vince always did, well, what Triple H currently still does.
Yeah, and now, to be fair, this angle didn't last very long. It wasn't another cinematic 15 minutes like WWE.
Yeah.
It was pretty much get in and get out, which I appreciated. But it still, it was like a good match that almost had a great angle to end it, especially for setting up what was next. But unfortunately, a standard sports entertainment trope stood in the way of that. But still, didn't take away from how hard the ladies worked. And then came the 21-man Blackjack Battle Royal that most viewers of the pay-per-view only saw about 5 people of, if that. So then I write down, so we're in the throes of this when the show starts. Where is the logic in that? And I'll tell you where the logic is, and I know why Tony does it, but it's stupid. The concept of this is you give them such a good match on the 0 hour, which is supposed to get people to want to buy the pay-per-view, that if it doesn't come to a conclusion, you've got them so hooked that you want them to, they'll be like, I gotta buy this pay-per-view so I can see how the match ends. Which in concept makes sense. But with a nonsense bullshit battle royal that no one cares about the participants in, it's just bullshit and confusing. So
also, you go from the pre-show ending to the pay-per-view starting, so that just kills the flow of the match right there.
And it did. But you don't know how bad it was before you saw it.
Wasn't it for the AEW National Championship?
Yes.
One of their many championships.
Yeah, literally everybody on this program had gold. It was gold or silver that was supposed to represent gold on a TV show that doesn't exist.
That wasn't even defended.
That wasn't even defended.
So it makes you wonder why was this even on the show? Just because.
Well, we got the net. All I have to say about this match is what about Mondo? But we're gonna get to the NWA later. Don't you worry, that'll be a different day. But okay, where do I start? Where do I fucking start? Oh my god! So half of the people, everybody's on the outside. Nobody's in the ring. As we come back and we're getting in there, they've got like, I don't know, 17 or 18 of these 19, 20, 21 people in. Danny Garcia is one of the 3 people who gets an entrance. And he was in the Death Rider hallway, which you know what I'm talking about because they all came from there.
Yep.
They did so
why
he comes
do they
in,
still think he's something? He's
and
not.
Wait, just wait. Just wait.
Danny Garcia is the Austin Theory of AEW.
God, I wish you would watch this pre-show. Oh my god.
There is nothing that will ever make me watch a pre-show ever again. I don't care what it is.
You would have, but this single hour, you would have probably been more entertained by than any of the rest of the 5 hours of this show.
If I could have watched just that and not watched the rest of the show, then congratulations, you've got yourself a deal.
You know what? Maybe that's what we'll do from now on. We'll just watch the 0 hour.
The AEW
and
pre-shows.
We won't even watch the rest of the program. We'll just see what their pre-show's like, and that's all we'll do for this program. Because the rest of this was such a slog.
Yeah.
All of my excitement and joy happened in this pre-show. Because the first 2 matches were good, and this one was so abysmally bad that it was hilarious. So they're all on the outside. Then Danny Garcia is shadow boxing like Shane McMahon against a black curtain with nobody there, with a hoodie up. He hears his music, doesn't do anything, and then just turns around and stands up like the Manchurian Candidate, no expression, like usual, and hops over and wearing his Seth Rollins black hoodie, which all the Death Riders are wearing black hoodies, by the way.
Both companies do it. Both companies do it.
Yeah, actually, I would say that maybe the Death Riders are a little bit more original with it. But perhaps. In any case, yeah, they didn't turn it into an actual, like, meme joke like WWE have now. Instead, the entire faction/company is a meme joke. And so Danny Garcia comes in, then Tommaso Ciampa comes in, and he should have won this, first of all. And he shouldn't have, because he's the shiny new toy.
Yep.
He's the guy that they gave a national title or not the national title, whichever fucking title he won, the TBS title, and then subsequently just lost immediately.
Isn't the TBS title the women's title?
No, you're right. It's the TNT title.
They have like 40 different titles, so I understand the confusion.
I don't know. There's like 16 mid-card belts, so it's whatever one he had. He had that one and lost that one in record time. Then literally shot for shot, Force Awakens remaked his betrayal of Johnny Gargano with Mark Briscoe.
Yep, and I hated it. And I hated it.
Yes.
Because it was so lame.
Yes. I'm Tommaso Skywalker. But trust me, folks, this won't be the only Star Wars on the night. We'll get to that. But anyway.
Speaking of dead franchises.
Yes. But Ciampa, and then this was the beginning. As Excalibur says, well, one of the things that's tough for Ciampa is that he has no backup in this battle royal. Yeah, because not everyone has 84 wrestler friends on camera, typically. There used to be a time when a wrestler could just come in on his own and wrestle on his own without being a part of a 16 billion person faction, of which there are like 9 on AEW. So, but then Def Rebel got exonerated because I don't know who's making AEW's music.
Dude.
But it's bad.
Dude, we'll get to it later, but Swerve Strickland got Def Rebelled, and it made me sad.
It is bad. It is bad. Where are all the musicians? You were telling me there's not. They're all wrestling.
Gosh dang it, Elias.
I don't know whether you noticed that Baldy John Morrison is here.
Dude.
What?
I saw his clips on Chris Van Vliet. When he took his hat off, I nearly died. Like my jaw. I didn't know that he shaved his head. My jaw nearly collapsed.
Yeah. I will say though, you're rocking it, John.
He does make it look good.
You're rocking it. Good for you, dude.
And
he did it in a hair match.
Yeah.
So he actually sold some tickets with it, which I also respect.
Yeah, I respect it as well. And I also, from what I saw, I just saw a couple clips from his thing on Chris Van Vliet. He seems like such a nice guy.
He does. And I'm glad that actually John Morrison is ultimately what Vince chose, because he does kind of look like Jim Morrison from The Doors. Mm-hmm. So that honestly, the association of that worked really well for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just changed his name to everything. He's now Johnny TV. Because he's just like, I'm not changing the name anymore. I'm just on television.
Yeah.
I'm on TV.
I've changed it so many times, I can't keep up with it anymore. I'm too old for this shit. I'm bald now.
But then...
Oh, no. You told me there was a horrific botch in this match.
Oh no, we're not even there yet. We're not even there yet. We're still in the entrances.
We haven't even... Oh, God.
You come to the back, and all of a sudden there is a blue and green painted short bus being driven by a crippled dinosaur in Luchasaurus who has got a sling and opens the bus door for Jack Perry to come down. And Luchasaurus looks into the camera like that cutscene from DX from 2006 when they were trying to apologize to everybody and just turned it into a merch plug. And they're just like cheesy. It was the cheesiest smile I've ever seen. And out comes Jack Perry and everybody's waving and I am crying laughing. This is like Jack Perry coming out of the short bus is the most symbolically hilarious thing that they
I know.
It is the funniest thing. And the funniest part about it is they are so unaware of how ironically funny that is.
Yes, they have no idea.
They thought that was cool, and that's the funniest part.
Yes.
And then Ricochet comes out with his guys, The Demand, and everybody just stopped caring. At least Jack Perry kind of got a reaction.
Okay.
And his family was there as well.
Okay. These faction names suck ass. We had, what was it, the Infantry earlier? And now we have The Demand. What?
The Death Riders, the Callis family. There's so many. I've lost track of how many.
It's not even how many. Just like the names suck. The Demand. I demand a better name, bro.
Well, they were banned from ringside, and Ricochet was mad, and he threw a little tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
And then, keep in mind, JoshAgeddon, this is a regular. Excuse me, I'm choking on stupidity. Pardon me one moment. I need to get some water because of all this stupid.
Choking on stupidity. That's stupidity. That's how you know we're reviewing an AEW show, all right?
This is the pre-show, by the way.
We haven't even started the main show.
We haven't even started getting into this.
This might be our longest podcast.
I know. This is going to take forever and 1.5 days. But this is what happens when you do Revolution. This is what happens with AEW shows. There's just so much.
Yeah, by revolution, they mean the Earth going around the sun.
Rotating once fully.
Yes.
Is what. But, so, keep in mind, JoshAgeddon, this is a regular Battle Royal, which means everybody gets into the ring, and then you throw them over the top, and they hit the floor, and that's how they're eliminated, right? You know the rules of a Battle Royal.
I would like to think so, yes.
Ricochet gets in the ring. Everybody else is still outside of the ring. The bell rings. Ricochet gets back outside. And for the better part of 3.5 minutes, everybody brawls on the outside and nobody gets into the ring. It is just, plus the cameras can't keep up with it. And it's just, everyone's just fighting. How are you supposed to shoot this? Minutes have passed. Nobody is in the ring. There are 2 referees talking to each other casually in the middle of 6 guys brawling like it's a Dilbert comic. It's fucking, then Tony Schiavone goes, there's somebody underneath our table. Who is this underneath our table? And it's fucking Leo Rush. Dark ball. Wait, it's better. It's Leo Rush bald with Gollum eye contacts. He looks
what?
Like, yeah.
What?
I swear to God. And I call him like, what in the GameStop Gollum is this?
I don't. Were you on shrooms before you watched this?
No, I swear to God, this all happened. He sits there and he's got this weird ass look, and then somebody gets onto the top. Keep in mind, nobody is in the ring yet. Somebody gets to the top turnbuckle and dives off from one to the other side. I'm like, if you're on the turnbuckle, that counts as being in the ring. But then they said, no, it doesn't. So I'm like, what the fuck ever. House rules, I guess. Then finally, people start getting into the ring. Finally. This took 4 minutes on 1.5 speed to get people in the ring.
Why did they ring the bell when no one was in the ring?
I have no clue.
Well, oh, God.
Sense.
Oh, this show hurts my brain, dude.
Yeah, and then Rocky Romero slides, does a roll, and then gets on and does a one of those diving slides on the dance floor on his knees, and then shimmies. And as soon as he does that, somebody just picks him up and throws him over the top. I'm like, moron. Then there's some random luchador called El Clone, and he's not part of the 501st. I guarantee you that. He's maybe 501st on the list of clones I would want to recruit for any sort of business.
So this is the 501st time we've seen someone edsturbate on a wrestling show.
But keep in mind, while there's people in the ring, there are still people brawling out of the ring, all while this is going on. So you don't know who is in the ring and who is eliminated and who has been thrown through the ropes and under the ropes. You can't shoot 3/4 of it.
You describing this is giving me a headache.
And the sad thing is this was the most coordinated battle royal I've ever seen. It looked so, and that's not a compliment, folks. It looked so then we do this, and then we do that, and then we do this, and then.
Oh, no.
Then I think the luchador's name is Dralistico. I'm not sure. Dralistico goes and he does this big leaping jump up to the top rope, and he sits there for half a second, and Shibata runs up to him and then stops and then just lightly taps his ass. And I mean lightly taps, shoved, you were pushing like a cat, pushing a teacup off a table. Just pushed him off and it eliminates him. It was the most non-effort I have ever seen. On an elimination, I don't want to hurt my wrist pushing you out of the rope.
This sounds less like a wrestling match and more just like an episode of the Three Stooges.
But it got better. It got better. Because then Beast Mortos and Danny Garcia are
God.
Some exchange here. And Danny Garcia's on the turnbuckle, and then Beast Mortos, I think, Danny goes to it, and Mortos, I think, counters him with a forearm or something, and then he goes to do this cartwheel he jumps up and uses the top turnbuckle to lift his whole body up so he's upside down and his legs are over the top. And what was supposed to happen is Danny Garcia was supposed to run over and push him out, but there was no Danny Garcia to be found. So he literally just threw himself up and over the top rope and eliminated himself.
Oh my God.
This was better than that. It was so funny. I had to stop the tape because I was laughing so hard. And These two moments happened within maybe 30 seconds of each other.
Oh my god.
Oh my, it was so funny. It was so good.
Oh, sweet merciful heavens.
And then Danny Garcia, because he's not done, pulls the mask off of Commander to eliminate him. As then he takes it and throws it around and whatever. Rush is in this match. And boy, if you think Jon Moxley doesn't sell anything, Rush sells less than Moxley. Ace Austin, I actually halfway like. And he sells pretty well. Rush doesn't sell a damn thing. And then Rush goes through the ropes, and Tony Schiavone's like, oh, he was eliminated. And then he comes back in, and they were all confused, and then he gets actually eliminated. And then here we go. And so he wasn't, then he finally did do it properly. Then this is what happens. Okay.
Oh, no.
So we're getting towards the very end of the pre-show. And Excalibur goes, well, we might have to see the conclusion of this on the main show as it's going to come up.
God forbid.
And right at, I can't believe they did this. This, to me, if I were Tommaso Ciampa, I'd just fucking quit. I'd just be like, this wasn't worth it. Ciampa, who's got this big feud in the middle of all this stuff, he's fighting Ricochet, and he's fighting somebody else, I forget who it is. But they're going through it, and they're in the middle of this fight, they're going back and forth, and all of a sudden, Tommaso Ciampa gets thrown over the top rope as the show fades to black.
The irony.
You eliminated your Golden Goose new toy right before the pay-per-view starts. No main roster paycheck for you, Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh, wow. The Black Heart eliminated right as they faded to black.
As they ended the show. And then, welcome everybody to boom, 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 boom,
okay.
boom. We can't see anybody fighting. Slap, slap, slap.
Okay.
What the fuck is going on? And
can I give my perspective now?
Yes, now that I have set the stage,
all right.
Go ahead. Again, so, welcome to the show.
I woke up at like 10-ish today. I went to the bank, my usual routine on Mondays, and then I went to Subway, and someone paid like $650 worth of Subway, and it was insane and ridiculous. And I got my sub, and I went home. I did a couple chores, and I was like, all right, time to suffer through this pay-per-view, and I pressed play. And immediately, cut to the ring, explosions are going off, and people are already fighting in the ring. And I'm like, whoa, what, huh? What happened? Did I miss something? Canadian Destroyer. And I'm like, I'm like, oh my God. I literally have never watched a wrestling show and got immediately pissed off that quickly. This is when I started watching. The first thing I saw, Pyro punches Canadian Destroyer. And I'm and I was just like, God, I think I've made a horrible mistake agreeing to do this with Sean. It was then and there I was like, I have made a horrible decision today.
Editor, put in the Arrested Development clip of I've made a huge mistake.
or the Simpsons clip where Homer and the guy from Family Guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, are fighting, and the little kid's like, I'm in danger.
Yes.
Oh my God. So that was my first 10 seconds of Revolution. I saw a Revolution in that Canadian Destroyer.
And this is what pissed me off, because El Clone, after seeing Ciampa get eliminated right as the show ended, El Clone is still in this match. What are you doing with El Clone that's more important than Tommaso fucking Ciampa? And then they throw him out, and then we get to the final two, and then the flippy shit begins.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get Bald Chance, and that was my favorite.
And then I quickly realized and got even angrier. I turned on this show, and the first thing I'm greeted with is Ricochet and Jack Perry, two people that I do not like. And I'm just like, fuck me. Why did I agree to... Now, this was before I knew about the short bus, which does make it better. But
boy, that comment out of context.
Yeah, but
before I knew about the short bus.
Before I knew about that, before I knew about his previous entanglement, but before I knew about that, at the time I was pretty pissed.
Yes, and
then
so
Jack Perry wins, and his baby face... Now, granted, I have not watched a single Dynamite in, like, years at this point, and I have not watched anything AEW related since, like, All In. Jack Perry is a babyface now? His old babyface music? Why? I'm confusion. Why?
Because they needed something for him to do, and and their tag division is awful, and Luchasaurus is hurt, so
and you can't. And I guess you can't have someone that rides a short bus come out to their heel music.
Well, because they're not heels. They turned him a while ago. They reformed the Jurassic Express, and before they were able to have any matches of consequence, Luchasaurus got hurt.
Of course. Of course.
But, you know, this had an apron poison Rana ended it. I'm like, this had some lulls, but the move from pre-show to main show hurt it a lot. And Ricochet crashes out just like on Twitter.
Yeah.
And literally just like on Twitter.
Yeah.
And in order to ease us into the remainder of the show, we've got another excellent tag match. The fifth one of these two teams facing each other. Wario and Pepsi Man are filing a lawsuit as we speak.
Yeah, we had the Young Bucks challenging FTR for the tag team titles once again, and I just was overwhelmed. This entire show was, I've seen this before. I have seen exactly this before. And I've seen that before. And I've seen this before. Vignette? Wait, what?
Did you see the Bucks glazing vignette with their poor kids being forced into this?
Well, first I noted that, first off, AEW, not every match on the card needs a hype package. I'm beginning to hate that because, for one, they don't know how to do hype packages because all of their hype packages last 15 seconds and it doesn't really accomplish anything.
Yeah, and they're not good ones.
At least with WWE, they have hype packages for the matches that matter, and WWE hype packages are usually fantastic. Like, say what you want about WWE. Usually their hype packages are good. AEW, everyone gets one. It's the hype package is like the participation trophy. Oh, wait, they give championships to everybody. What am I even fucking talking about? They're all 15 seconds long. It's just a brief summary of the feud, quote-unquote feud, and then match. But they did their brief hype package, and then they cut to another hype package, but for specifically the Young Bucks. You didn't need the first hype package. You could have just done that one with the kids reading off of lines talking about how great their dads are, forced at gunpoint, or I guess it's super kick, but the little kids saying super kick party made me want to kill myself.
Well, those were some super kicks, all right. I mean, and
also just saying, if you come out and bring all 8 of your children with you, you are no longer a young buck.
No, you're Shane McMahon.
Also, people on commentary, you miss calling them the young bucks is not as clever as calling them the younger bucks. Also, the commentary on the entire show was absolutely horrendous.
Well, and the worst part about that is it wasn't even about the kids. It was the fucking dollars that spewed out like the Street Profits Pizza Hut.
Yep.
That got me unsensibly irate. I'm like, I was having fun, and you're making this unfun. And I kind of wish that they had kept the Kansas, because their theme song is bad. Yeah, it's but in any case, then FTR come out, and this is easily the weakest reaction I've ever heard for them. They are dead, man. But I'll tell you who's not. Because I'll tell you who the highlight of this match. The match itself was nothing to me. My favorite part of this match was Stokely Hathaway.
His facial expressions were hilarious. And honestly, most of the crowd reactions was the crowd laughing whenever the camera cut to him.
Dude, he was fantastic all match. I screenshotted every time he had an expression.
Yeah, and you sent it to the group chat.
More than 2 seconds. They gave him 2 seconds, but he made the most of those 2 seconds.
Yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, I have several problems with this match right off the jump.
Go ahead, because I really have nothing to say about the match itself, because it was...
It's every Young Bucks match you've ever seen.
Yep.
It's every Young Bucks FTR match you've ever seen, because they've only wrestled 100 times.
Yep.
Okay, I was already angry enough about starting the show and forcing me to watch people already wrestling while Pyro's going off and a Canadian Destroyer 10 seconds into the program, making me feel both angry and confused at the same time. This is the first match. I'm not counting the last 3 seconds of the Battle Royal. This is the first match. Why are we having double juice in our opening contest when the main event is a Texas death match when you know we're going to get more double juice? I've had this exact problem with AEW the last time they did a show where the last match was a Texas death match. I feel like I've had this problem with every AEW show that's had a Texas death match because they have to have blood all the time, constantly, to the point where it doesn't mean anything, and I'm just... why am I watching this?
Well, it's like because I made you, but there's
well, I thought you said it was my fault.
It is your fault. But anyway,
whose fault is it?
Whose fault is it anyway? Starring Wayne Brady on the But anyway,
I want to bitch slap both of us from us making each other watch this.
Yeah.
Another problem I had. I know it's the Young Bucks, and they love jerking themselves off to the day the world ends, but again, this is the opening match. This did not need to go 20... How long did this match go? I'm curious. I'm going to look it up. I'm actually going to have the match times on me while I'm talking about this god-forsaken show.
Now look,
this match went 1850. It did not need to go 1850. It felt like it went 30, but it did not need to go 1850. If it went 11, that would have been fine.
Now, I can't believe I'm about to say what I'm about to say, but in defense of the Bucks, that is equally FTR's fault.
True.
Because they always want to do the most convoluted, they're great wrestlers, but they always want to go to the 98th degree because they've got this weird innate chip on their shoulder that is not helping them at this point.
No, like
it's not.
It helped them. It helped them back in the day, but it's also been a decade.
Bret Hart didn't need to prove he was Bret Hart all the time.
Yeah,
is all I'm saying.
And FTR,
these they're trying to be Bret Hart all the time.
Yes. And another thing, there were finisher kickouts in nearly every
match.
Single match, and not just one, but multiple finisher kickouts.
Every move that every wrestler has ever known was on this show.
Every move that every wrestler has ever known was in this opening match.
Yeah, that's my point.
There was one thing I will say that I liked about this match. Okay, it actually stems from something else I hated about this match. 1 minute into this match, we had an apron. we had an apron stump puller pile driver, and I'm just like, really? We have to do that in our first match? But what it led to was, I think it was Matt Jackson. I can't tell them apart, and I really don't care. The more infuriating Young Buck, Matt Jackson, I think.
Matt Jackson.
He did. I will say he did a good job of selling his shoulder throughout the match. Because he was...
Yes, even though he's still one of the people who makes kinesiology tape look hokey as fuck.
Yeah, but a lot of the moves he tried to make it like he was doing it with one arm. I will give him credit. Like, he did a good job selling his arm throughout the match. But like what I just said, which made you laugh, because I was like, here's a positive that came from a negative, and now I'm upset about the negative.
That's why I laughed. You're like, the one thing I did love about this match came from my seething hatred.
Well, it's a Young Bucks match and FTR, and I hate both teams. So, but not only are there this match went on forever, and it's our opening contest. We have double juice, and it's our opening contest. We have multiple finisher kickouts, and it's our opening. We have an apron double pile driver in our first match. Really?
Yep. Well, the couple moments that I had, I had an Excalibur moment where they were trying to talk about when FTR quote unquote assaulted Malachi Buck, and Excalibur is like, that wasn't right. He's a civilian. Dude, the civilians are probably more intimidating than most of the wrestlers.
Yeah.
On the show. Like, that's not the argument you think it is, Excalibur.
There were a few. I tried my best to tune out the commentary, but there were.
I wish I could. I wish I could.
There were a few points where sentences bled through where it made me wish that I didn't understand the English language anymore. And I'm not entirely certain that Excalibur does understand the English language, but we'll get to that. But
yeah, we will get to that.
But this match was just moves and stuff. If this was if this was the main event of the show, and this is the first time these two teams actually wrestled each other, I probably would have liked it.
But it's the 5th time they've had this exact same match, basically,
and it's the same match that the Young Bucks have with every team they've ever wrestled.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, how many times have you seen that double sharpshooter? Every match.
And how many times have we seen that double sharpshooter where I think Nick Jackson puts it on terribly and Matt Jackson actually puts on a pretty decent-looking sharpshooter? One buck teach the other buck how to do a sharpshooter. How is this still happening where one of you does it good and the other one does it bad? Either the good one tell the bad one, hey, this is how you do a sharpshooter, or both of you just stop doing it.
Insert 2 seconds of Stokely emoting.
i.e. the highlight of the match.
Yes, and editor, every time that I mention Stokely, put one of the faces I've screenshotted up in the video. But anyway, they spill to the outside, and Stokely wheels away in fear, filling up his colostomy bag.
Wow.
Yeah, which might be the only time the word colostomy bag will be used in the context of professional wrestling. I hope.
Well, I mean, we do review AEW from time to time.
That's why we're here. There was a Power and Glory combo, which is Paul Roma and Glory. I don't remember who that was, but then they did Eddie Shimmy for no reason when they were going to do the splash part of it, which wasn't even a frog splash. And it was like, you don't need that cheap heat, FTR. You don't need that.
Well,
and it is cheap.
Yeah.
And from anyone honestly, Mysterio, it's cheap.
Honestly, they do need it, and that's what makes it sad. They need anything at this point, but they're trying too hard, and that's the problem.
So then one of the Jacksons tries to do a sunset roll-up, and then waits for forever to the other guy to line up to then hit him with some sort of like a Northern Lights bridge. And while that was going on, I'm like, the referee should have, you know what? Never mind. Never mind. Let's just keep watching the match.
Even the crowd,
try and dissect what the referee should be doing. It's Rick fucking Knox.
Dude, even the crowd got confused by that because I got what they were doing because he was like rolling up the illegal guy, which is confusing in the first place. And then he suplexed the legal guy, which I'm thinking, get the illegal guy out of the ring and suplex and pin the legal guy. But anyway, you're rolling up the illegal guy and suplex pinning the legal guy, and the referee was like, okay, I'll start pinning when the legal guy's down. The crowd lost track of who was legal. Because after he kicked out, the crowd started chanting, this ref sucks, because they started chanting when he rolled up the illegal guy.
And all McDonald's had to do was say, he's not legal.
But
he's not legal, Matt. That's all that was required. We'll say 3 words.
Look who we're talking about here.
I know. This man is literally a revived zombie that some necromancer in Cucamonga has resurrected somewhere in a basement.
My point is, when your spot is so convoluted that even the fans that are 3 feet from you have no idea what you're doing, stop. Keep it simple, stupid.
Well, thank God they did, because then we got a baby buck pep talk.
Okay, actually, this is another thing that I actually, in concept, in theory, this could work. Like getting a pep talk from your child, and then you go run wild. That could work. The problem is, it's the Young Bucks.
Not with them.
No, like it kind of kills them, and especially since they were just heels that were like power hungry and in control of the company. And then is the story that they got stripped of their powers and they turned babyface because they went through suffering. They basically Christian Bale, Batman, Bruce Wayne. I was a spoiled rich kid, but my dad died, so now I'm gonna go and learn how to be a criminal so I can understand criminals better, so I can put on a bat suit and beat the shit out of them. Is that what they were going for?
No, I think they kissed and made up with Kenny Omega a couple months back. And so that's why they're cheered now, and that's why they're baby faces. I don't remember everything that led up to it because I don't watch the show. I just listen to Cornette shit on it. And that's given that's the lens that I'm on. I don't really know the whole context of the story. But insert a 2-second Stokely cut, by the way, editor. Then we get this double floor suplex, which did not look safe. Not gnarly good, unsafe.
Well, half of it looked safe.
True.
I can't remember who was doing what. Like I think it was
Matt. Matt's the one who twisted. I think it was Dax.
Yeah.
To almost onto the stairs, which I was like, ah!
Yeah. One half of it was just a standard, like it was a safe suplex from the ring to the floor, and the thud was great. The other one didn't quite get what they were wanting, and I think they were wanting a Falcon Arrow and almost a fatality.
They nearly got one.
Yeah. So that was a little scary.
Yeah, it really was. Then we get a super kick fest in Stokely's face again. It's just, I will give credit to whoever is the production executive who was, I'll say this, for AEW standards, he wasn't bad tonight. But by AEW standards, and there's a lot of shit that he did that I did not like.
There is a lot of shit that he did that I did not like, which we will get to.
And with all of that being said, this was one of his better nights. And him shooting Stokely the way he did was one of the highlights.
Yeah.
And then Stokely gets up and trips a buck. And then the Shatter Machine. And boy, if the match had ended there.
Yeah, but it's the Young Bucks. You know they've got to kick out a finisher.
But that right there, of course, because Nick Jackson has to Hulk up.
Yeah. No, oh no, they gave him the Shatter Machine, he kicked out, and then a minute later they gave him the FTR trigger, which is just the BTE trigger. And he kicks out at one, and he starts going crazy, and I just threw up my hands in frustration.
There were like 6 1 counts on this show.
Dude, this show was run on WWE 13. I hated it. I got so angry. Angry the first
arm throws downs though. We didn't see many of the most useless move in wrestling.
No, we didn't see a match end via our arm drag, or a hip toss. But when the first time, I'm so over this spot. I didn't know they were going to do it like 80 more times in different matches. But I was like, we don't have to do this on every AEW pay-per-view.
Beating a move to death beyond death is literally what this show's about, and specifically what the Young Bucks are all about.
Yes, but as was laid bare multiple times, they're not the only ones interested in doing that.
No. But here comes... Oh, go ahead.
If they had never done the 1 count gimmick before this night, they would have beat it to death on this night, because they did it so many times.
I know. They really did. and speaking of a lot of things on this night, thus begins the Shut Up Shivani counter. And it will be frequented on this night.
He is the worst.
He is fucking useless.
He contributes nothing. At all.
The Young Bucks do their BTE whatever the fuck trigger, And all of a sudden, Tony turns into early 2000s Dr. Eggman is like, AEW, huh? Shut up. Shut up, Tony. I can tell how happy that just made you. So
not happy enough. Not for me to scrape what I've seen out of my eyes.
Instead of Stokely tripping the Bucks and the Shatter Machine doing it, instead it has to be a Spike Pile Driver and an Avalanche Shatter Machine that beats these two scrawny little middle-aged fucks. Way too much as always. Stokely was the highlight of the whole match.
Yeah.
And then the lights go out. There would be more of this.
Yes. It wouldn't be an AEW show if Tony Khan remembered to pay the power bill.
Yes, clearly. Billions of dollars can't pay
the power bill.
Edge comes back for revenge, and so does Christian, and this got a pop because they used to be stars. And
well, okay, first production problem that I had. Did you notice that they were struggling to get the word revenge on that screen?
Yeah, I didn't know whether that was on purpose or not.
No, like it would start like the animation was like Evenge.
Or
it started, but then it just abruptly just stopped and cut to black, and then it started again. And
that's why I wasn't sure if that was on purpose, because if the R, because he's rated R, so they put that in last to not give it away. I don't know. I wasn't sure whether that was on purpose or not. But
if it was on purpose, it looked like an accident. If it was on accident, get better.
Yeah, either would help. But in any case, they get there, and FTR, gets kind of shocked, but then they feed into the kill switch and a spear, and Edge and Christian are like, hooray, and they hold the titles, and then this segment died a grisly death because in come the Young Bucks, and the crowd evaporated. They said holy shit once. They're like, holy shit. Oh, no, we don't really want that. And Edge and Christian looked at him, and then they looked back at FTR and looked back at them, and then just laid the belts on the mat, which weren't theirs and weren't the Young Bucks either.
It was they were kind of gesturing for FTR to come take the belts from them, but the segment was ending and they were running out of time, I guess, and it was just weird.
But they laid the belts in front of the Young Bucks, who had lost, and the end of this, the return was fine. But what they should have done is, I wouldn't have even given them the killing of FTR's heat. I wouldn't have had them actually hit both the kill switch and the spear. Maybe one to Stokely, or do the Stokely thing and have FTR bail and save that match.
No, they can't help themselves.
Why? They can't help themselves, and then the Young Bucks get involved for no reason, and it kills everything. So, are you having a fun time?
At this point, no, I was not.
Well,
there's one thing I forgot to mention. Dax is a shiny, bald man. Except, for whatever reason, he has a weirdly penis-shaped tattoo on his inner thigh, and that is it. Why?
He should have gotten it on his neck.
It would have looked better. Okay. Far be it from me to stare at another man's crotch for an uncomfortable period of time, but I just couldn't stop staring at it because I was like, why are you there? I was staring at that tattoo like I stare at Renee Paquette whenever she's on screen. I'm like, why are you here? Why are you right there?
Don't worry, staring at another man's crotch would be the entire backbone of a match later. So
true, that is true.
We'll get to that. But we're not there yet. First, we've got Marina Shafir versus Toni Storm. And I guess that hallway is just the Death Riders aisle.
Yeah.
As Marina Shafir and the two dumpsters coming soon to straight to DVDs everywhere. They do the Kingdom Hearts dance like Sora, Donald, and Goofy.
Yeah, when they cut in there and they were just spinning around, were they like? It looked like they were trying to do what Wally was doing on White Knucks OG and trying to summon a demon. It was very strange, and I have
no idea.
I was so confused, and I was like, "What is this?" Oh, there's Marina Shafir. Why was Marina Shafir summoning a demon? What is happening?
Well, you know what's really funny about that is that this would be the first of a couple of times on this night when I saw all their black hoods and doing their things, and I said, and I quote, "Who the fuck are these people?" and then it turns around, and I'm like, "Oh, it's Marina Shafir and the other two, who I still, to this point, I don't remember their names. It's Wheeler Yuta and who cares?" And, but Marina Shafir comes out of her little back aisle alone, barefoot for some reason that I didn't quite understand. And Tony Storm, this gimmick is so silly, but their fans like it.
Yeah.
But it's silly. This was this.
I thought this was fine. I didn't think it was particularly interesting, and I hated the finish.
This match started with ass slaps and ended with a bite to the titty, winning the match.
Can you people see why I hated the finish?
I just, for as much as we complain about women's wrestling, they go and throw that into the. This was just weird. This was just a weird ass match.
No, as much as women complain about wanting respect in wrestling, they go out there and slap each other's asses and bite each other's tits.
And I don't hate Tony Storm, but Marina sells like John Moxley, meaning she doesn't.
Well, at least the way they were working the match, it kind of played into that because she's a MMA fighter of some description, I'm sure.
Yeah. At least there's some level of legitimacy with Marina Shafir, unlike John Moxley.
Yeah, and I will say her kicks to Tony Storm, like to her back especially, looked solid.
Yeah, I mean, they were legitimate kicks.
Yeah.
You know, and then she kicks the table, and then Tony Storm starts biting the foot, which I'm sure excited a good number of AEW's incel audience, but not me.
Not me either.
CIW referee Rex Ryan, almost undoubtedly, but that's a different story.
Dear God.
A double down. There's been a lot of cross-pollination. You might as well get that out of the way. Go subscribe to CIW, and you're already subscribed to TAW Gaming. But
hell yeah.
Do it again. Unsubscribe and resubscribe.
Create another account and subscribe with that one.
That's right. That's unofficially. That's an alleged thing you should do.
Yeah.
So YouTube doesn't ban us.
Totally.
But then we get a double knockdown, and this is one of those moments where Tony was appealing to my sensibilities. Did we not just say that we have not seen a double knockout count by a referee by WWE in forever?
You're right. You're so
and here
right.
comes Aubrey Edwards doing one. I'm like, well, I'm sad that it was here that I found it, but I found it. Like, all right, well, so okay, you scored some points with me there. You scored some points with me, but the Tony does a hip attack better than either Uso.
Yes, and then she does her finishing move, which is the snap pile driver, and she does a pile driver, which is her finishing move, and Marina kicks out of it. So she bites her titty and small packages her, and that's the finish. You can kick out of a pile driver, but you can't kick out of a titty bite.
But the name of it was Mother's Milk. They were saying Mother's Milk all the time on commentary, and I don't know whether that was Marina's move, which I doubt, or whether that was something Tony had planned, where it was just they said Mother's Milk repeatedly, and then a titty bite won the match.
Yup.
I don't even have words for this, is what I wrote down. I'm like, I'll tell you what, I've never seen that finish before.
And my response is, and they want us to take women's wrestling seriously because...
Well, because Tony Storm goes and swims on the ramp for an excruciatingly long time.
This gimmick is, at this point, I'm incredulous with how done I am with this gimmick.
Or, I mean, even at 1.5 speed, I'm like, she has been swimming for a hot minute. I was like, and then out comes AEW fan favorite, Ronda Rousey, who comes in and just stands in the ring. And Toni Storm didn't have to go back, but she went back for a stare down, and then Marina Shafir goes and hits her, and then there's like a little bit of a referee hold back and something of a schmoz, and that's that. But more than anything, well, okay, before we get into it, your initial thoughts on Ronda Rousey showing up on AEW Revolution.
Dude, we just saw a women's match end with a titty bite and a roll-up, and immediately Ronda Rousey appears. The state of women's wrestling in 2026, ladies and gentlemen, it is a disaster. It's hilarious. It's honestly hilarious how much Ronda Rousey has talked shit about wrestling just to turn around and go right back to a wrestling company that will accept her. How desperate are we?
Will they?
Well,
because here's my ultimate thing about this. Okay, Ronda Rousey has some star power. She's doing this legacy fight with Gina Carano. So she's got some publicity to her right now, even though I despise this woman and have for some time. So, but I was fascinated by this because more than anything else, good luck for Tony. If he gets some business off of this and gets some ratings, good for him, good on him. He's done something to help him. But who asked for this?
Ronda.
Who wanted this? Which AEW fans were like, this show needs Ronda Rousey on it? Because everyone I have seen since has gone, why the fuck did Tony bring Ronda here? Nobody understands this. And I find it hilariously funny.
It is pretty funny.
Because, like,
even someone that utterly despises this company, I'm just wondering, Tony, why would you bring her in? Because
no AEW would want this.
Because she's a nightmare. Like,
well, it doesn't fit the mold of what AEW is and what the fan base likes.
No. This makes no sense.
That's why it fascinates me, because this is so nonsensical. This is so anti-AEW fans that it doesn't make sense from Tony. So I'm fascinated to see where this goes. Probably nowhere, but it's hilarious to me that this happened with Ronda and just the confusion. Because this wasn't a pop. This was a, huh?
Also, Excalibur could not say Ronda's last name. He just couldn't. It wasn't Ronda Rousey. It was Ronda Rousey. And I'm just like, Excalibur.
No, that's what he was getting.
Excalibur, how are you bad at everything? How are you so bad at everything?
Well, I can't expect Excalibur to know anything about actual combat sports.
No, of course not.
So I'm sure that he probably had no idea who that woman was, save for somebody yelling in his ear who it was. Yeah, and so then we get back into the Death Riders hallway right at the end of that match, because we got one more death to ride. And it is Jon Moxley versus Tenosuke Takeshita. Your thoughts on this match before I give mine?
I thought Takeshita looked great. Jon Moxley is utterly horrendous. Like, it is physically painful to watch Jon Moxley move. If you can call it's like it's like that meme where that person's like poking a dead thing on the ground saying, "Come on, do it." That's me, just like Jon. Like, especially from his head to like his traps and his like shoulders, from like his chest up, he does not move. He does not move his. Does he have neck problems? Does like if he moves his neck, will his head just fall off of his shoulders?
That's possible.
He does not. It's not even that he doesn't sell. He doesn't move.
Yeah, his neck's held up by paper clips and zip ties because it sure ain't screwed on straight.
And also, his strikes are awful. They look lazy.
He is the worst strikes in wrestling, bar none.
They look so lazy. Everything he does sucks. Everything.
He is the New York Jets of professional wrestling. Everything he touches turns to garbage.
Everything he does is awful looking.
Now, having said that, I will say this. This is probably my favorite Moxley match that he's had since the one he had with Danielson before he really started infecting this program. And it has nothing to do with Moxley as to why.
Yeah, Takeshita's great. Everything Moxley does is bad. Everything Takeshita does is good.
Listen, Takeshita made me enjoy a Jon Moxley match. Because this list was reined in for Moxley. Mm-hmm. It didn't spill out to the outside for 16 minutes. It started with a collar and elbow tie-up.
But we will have a match that does that later.
Right, well, of course. But the fact that this was the first half of this match was wrestling, albeit not good from Moxley, but it was wrestling.
Yeah.
It was breaks and holds and getting, there was a Greco-Roman knuckle lock. I wrote at one point, what the fuck am I watching here? Like, the amount of wrestling in this is making me uncomfortable. Like, this is not what I have come to know from Jon Moxley. And I said it's really convenient that Renee Paquette shows up just for this.
Of course, because that's her husband. It's like this is my husband. This is my husband. We know.
Yes.
You only appear when he's on screen.
It's only when her dildo is wrestling that she shows up in this program. But then I liked the one thing I'll give Moxley credit for. I liked grinding Takeshita's head on the ropes. And kind of mashing it off to try and sell some of his badassery, which he has none of, but he tries to sell.
Dude, there was a moment in this match where it actually made me nauseous because I was getting so angry. When Takeshita had him in the corner and he was doing the mounted punches in the corner, Takeshita was trying to do the punches, and Jon Moxley was just staring at him.
Did not move once.
It looked horrible.
It was bad.
Oh my. Yeah. That was when I was like, oh my God. What is do you have a neck problem?
Well, it's possible. Well, and then they spill to the outside, but it only lasts a very short amount of time, and then they get back in. The count gets broken up before Moxley gets back, but then they get back into the ring. And I'm like, I'm having a stroke. This is not really happening. This match is not happening the way it's happening. As there's a baby face and a heel. There's people make sense here. Takeshita is selling amazingly. He's got such aura. Mm-hmm. He is just, and his selling of the ankle as this whole matchup. Mm-hmm. Was so good.
Although there was one thing that he sold, there was one part of the match that also filled me with rage. At a point, I don't know if Moxley bit his eye or threw him eyeball first in the steps or whatever happened.
More juice.
Takeshita comes up bleeding again, and I'm just like, oh my God. We have a Texas death match in the main event, and we've already had blood 2 matches previous. Why?
It's amazing that Moxley didn't get any in this run.
That is true, but of course it has to be someone within spitting distance of Jon Moxley. Save the juice! I feel like this is like some weird soda commercial. Save the juice, man!
Sadly, Juice Robinson was eliminated in the Battle Royal that you didn't get to see most of.
I hate the show. I hate the show, Sean. And
But
at the same time this is happening, we have production issue that was driving me crazy. Number 2, they kept throwing tweets of people reacting to the fakest tweets I've ever seen. The most generic.
Every last one of those tweets was Tony Khan. Not one of them was in celebration of Ronda Rousey that was real.
The most flaccid, plastic, fake, neutered, company-approved Twitter comments that they were plastering on the screen. This was the match where it finally started driving me crazy. And this was match 3, and we still have 80 more matches to go. I hate this show. I hate this company. Why?
Tony released the thoughts as there's so much agony to go.
Why did we agree to do this, Sean?
John Moxley does a figure 4, and then we get a package bomb. Get a package bomb. Then he shakes off the bad knee into a wheelbarrow German. That was Takeshita who did that. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
Takeshita sells well, and then we got the Moxleyism of let's touch foreheads like we're badasses and do strikes in the middle of the ring, and this is where I started getting blah.
And then they started, I'm going to suplex you. No, I'm going to suplex you. Like suplex, no sell. Suplex, no sell. Suplex, no sell. Suplex, stop that. I hate this so much. If you're gonna suplex someone, sell it. If you're not gonna sell it, then don't do it. Especially when you do it over and over and over again. This is the 3rd match. This is not like the semi-main event. This isn't even the opener, where we already had a bunch of moves where it was immediately no sold, fed into moves that also were new. No.
Joshua, breathe. Breathe. Oh man, there's the slide into a pile driver. That was the thing I thought was really stupid. Takeshita was like selling like he was dead for an 8 count. Gets to 9, jumps up, crawls into the ring, and right into a pile driver. He literally crawled into the pile driver. I'm like, okay, that was stupid.
Yeah, he fed a little too much into that.
Yeah, and then there was more forehead touching.
And then there was
Jerry Lynn pile driver, and Jerry didn't get a shout out for it.
No, and then John Moxley at a point did that CM Punk neckbreaker where he does the arm twist?
Yep.
John Moxley tried to do the arm twist thing into the Paradigm Shift DDT, and didn't quite. He DDT'd him with his armpit, kind of.
Yeah.
John Moxley sucks, by the way, in case you didn't know this. He's not good. He's not good.
No, that's certainly a good call.
I will murder you. I will actually kill you.
And we get a top rope exploder suplex that took way too long to set up.
Mm-hmm.
But we did get a good shot of Takeshita behind Moxley not too long after that. That was well done. This was going long, but there's no time limit, which is no surprise.
And it was for the Continental title, by the way. One of the 80 championships they have.
And then Takeshita's finish was kicked out of for the first time by Moxley. They went up for a shot, and the knee gave. And so then Moxley gave him a Death Rider, and that would have been a good finish, too.
But
if the knee had just caved, and but no, 2 count. And then this is where... Shut up, Shivani counter. This is just so great. This is why AEW is the best. Where else are you going to see stuff like this? Tony, I swear to God, why are you here? You are useless. I would rather have Wade as a not Wade Barrett, Wade from Sonic than you. Anyway, and now it's now this has gone over the top. This had so much potential, but then listen, I'm not a big fan of John Moxley choking people out as hardly anybody is.
Well, before that, Renee is. Well, before that, not only did we get a Paradigm Shift kick out, then we got an Avalanche Paradigm Shift kick out too, because finishing moves don't exist. They're not a real thing. They're just a figment of your imagination. Why? let's do every move known to mankind, not just in the first match, but in the third match as well, and every other match on the fucking card. I'm not gonna make it through this review, Sean.
So then, Jon Moxley chokes him out. But here's where I gotta give Takeshita a lot of credit. The sell by Takeshita of passing out was the best pass-out finish sell I have ever seen.
It was pretty good.
It was different, but it was real. It felt like that quick moment where he gets that quick adrenaline rush before the lights shut out. And I've never seen anyone accurately convey that. And that was really, really good. God, Takeshita, if we ever did revive ACPW, NWL, and SCCG, Takeshita would be very, very high on my draft list.
He's
if there's
really
anything
good
to take away from this show, is that dude should be somewhere else because he is incredible.
Yes.
And that's really all I have to say about this match. I mean, the match itself, listen, for a Moxley match, this was better than it had any right to be. Even though it was still too long and had its Moxleyisms, and Moxley is ass.
Yes, unbelievably ass.
Takeshita got a decent match out of Moxley, and that deserves credit. And Take is a superstar. Then they did a very long, drawn-out shake my hand. I'm a heel, but shake my hand, which made no sense. And then here comes the Green Goblin.
Yeah, another hype package for some reason. Basically...
The lights are gone out again, by the way.
Yeah. Tony, for God's sakes, pay your power bill. You have all of your dad's money. You should be able to take care of that. This whole cutscene, I guess you can call it, made me think of them putting the Green Goblin serum into either Willem Dafoe in Spider-Man 1 or James Franco in Spider-Man 3. It was kind of like that, which might have been what they were going for, kind of. And then we had yet another... Okay, there were so many debuts / returns on this show. Too many of them.
4 out of the first 5 matches had a return or debut attached to them.
Yes.
That is nuts. That is actually nuts.
Have I mentioned that this show is just flinging shit at the wall repeatedly? And
well... Will Ospreay, I thought, actually looked good. I think this is
Yeah.
the best I've seen him look. Even though he looked a little bit like Chris Evans to me. But I did miss, he was like, his neck is fine. And then the smart thing is Moxley bailed out. The bailout I wanted FTR to do, Moxley actually did. And then once again, the other 2 Death Riders come in. And once again, I'm like, who the fuck are they? oh, the other Death Riders. Right. Okay, got it. I'm like, that is how inconsequential those other 2 guys are, and they've been pushed so heavily.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how irrelevant they are. I'm like, oh, who are they? On the same show in consecutive matches. They've appeared in 3 or 4 different angles consecutively, and I'm still like, who are those people?
Yeah. Who are you people?
That's how nondescript that the rest of those guys are. But yeah, this comes out. The only thing that I wish that Ospreay had done was get a microphone and go, 2026? I've been locked away for 50 years? And
since it's Will Ospreay, it'd say, revenge, bruv.
Yes.
Or bruv block.
Yeah, anyway, I would love to see Ospreay cosplay as Shadow the Hedgehog.
That would actually be dope.
I'm game for it. Pistols and all.
Yes. Motorcycle and all. Get a Chaos Emerald.
Yes. I mean, if Will Ospreay is one of the few people I think would actually show up with a Chaos Emerald. And that seems in line with who he is as a person.
Or at least have it in the cutscene hype package right before he comes out.
Yeah, at least that way we'll know that we might actually get Wade on commentary because he's protecting the Master Emerald.
But yeah, anyway, I love his new hairdo. His hair no longer looks stupid, and he looks good with those tattoos.
Yeah, and Will Ospreay is one of those guys that is star power for their audience, and I think Ospreay, there's nothing but good that's going to come from Ospreay being back right now. I think if there's any positive to take away from AEW, they've had a lot of injuries, and based on the result of this show, they were able to get a lot of their stars back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they're going to be able to put out better cards going forward because they got a lot of people back, like all at the same time. So there is some hope about at least the top to the mid-top card of what AEW is trying to be for at least the audience of what they're into. Because you kind of have to take that for what it is, because they're not attracting casuals and never will.
No.
And they'll never grow. So you kind of have to just look at it in the vacuum of what is their audience going to accept. And right now, both Kenny coming, as we're about to talk about, and Ospreay being back, and Edge and Christian being back. I mean, those are all names that AEW has needed.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he ruins all of the names, just Tony, with his booking, they need the names. So, it's what it is. And then we get to this women's tag. And this is where, at this moment, this was the last that we got Nigel McGuinness. And this is, I really genuinely think this is where the show completely soured for me. Not once this women's tag, but right after it. When Bryan Danielson hit the booth, and it's not his fault. He was actually pretty good too. But when Nigel McGuinness left the booth, the show took a massive turn. But we have a women's tag to glaze over.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to talk about with this at all? I mean, the only thing is they're if they're not the Skyscrapers, then they're female Chronic.
It made me laugh uncontrollably when Willow Nightingale came out and they immediately found and cut to a very fat little girl. That was funny.
That was a plant.
That was still funny.
Because that was the only Willow merch that I have seen, or the only, what are they called? The Babes of Wrath? That was the only Babes of Wrath t-shirt I saw in the entire building. So I'm sure that there was some level of, get this kid to wear our merch. A little more subtly than WWE, I will add. But
okay, isn't Willow Nightingale's whole gimmick that she's plucky and bubbly and happy? How is that a Babe of Wrath?
Well, the babe part is cute, and the wrath is like Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls, I guess.
That you're thinking Buttercup.
No, I'm thinking Bubbles.
Bubbles is the one that cries.
Right, but she's bubbly, but then cries. No, Buttercup is just the badass one. I'm talking about like the super sweet and then cries, because it kind of seems like that might be what Willow does, even though she... Anyway, this ended with a Chronic drop. And, Willow's still selling the shoulder helped a lot. I think the whole thing about this was that Willow was not 100%, hence the very cringy promo beforehand.
Yes.
Where Willow Nightingale wouldn't look at the camera, and Harley Cameron just like, I'm sick of this shit. I was like, okay, that was a Jekyll and Hyde moment if I've ever seen it. But all right, let's just move on then. And then the Skyscrapers won it.
I liked that it was short.
Me too. And the thing is, it didn't have to be long. It was obviously a cool-down match.
Yes.
Obviously a cool-down match.
Women in a cool-down match? I've never seen this movie before.
Well, that was kind of the funny thing about this, is that they kind of nudged to you, like, this is the bathroom break. This is very clearly the bathroom break, so get it in while you can. And then Bryan Danielson comes in, and I said, wait, don't replace Nigel, replace Tony.
Yes. Yes.
A three-man booth of Excalibur, Nigel, and Bryan Danielson would have been palatable. Because Nigel McGuinness, I think, helps Excalibur out a lot.
And it would be entertaining because Nigel hates Bryan, and Bryan is kind of indifferent to Nigel, or at least in their kayfabe. So they would have been bickering a teeny bit.
Right, there would have to be some level of professionalism that would have to be kept, but I think both of them would have fun doing that.
The point is, Tony sinks the ship.
He really does. He makes it really hard to enjoy the show because of how just nothing, just nothing he is, and what little he brings to the table.
He's white noise that overpowers the sound you're trying to listen to.
As well, and we're gonna get to him in a second, but now we've got. I said this was gonna take a pretty deep nosedive. Some might call it a swerve. As it is Brody King, the room temperature water wonder, because he doesn't like ice. I'm told. Versus Swerve Strickland, who is here and has also lost an incredible amount of aura from where he was at one point.
And one of the reasons why he's lost so much aura is because what happened to his theme song? This garbage that he came out to. Like, I immediately noticed, because what happens usually on an AEW show when someone says, "Whose house?" What does the crowd do? Swerve house. This time, they went, "Whose house?" And the crowd went... The crowd did not react at all. Probably because this new theme song is absolute generic dumpster fire garbage.
Where are all the musicians? They had Action Bronson.
Oh,
and
wait a
Rick
second.
Ross.
Wait a second. Before we continue, there was one thing I forgot. This was production issue number 3. Brief little rewind to the women's tag team match. This was where I got really angry because they were showing ads for their t-shirts, and they covered up a third of the screen with it.
But Joshua, the pay-per-view was amazing, so you shouldn't have an opinion.
I mean, on one hand, they were covering up a women's match with shirts, so I should be grateful. But at the same time, if you want me to watch a show, then don't put advertisements that block out the show. There's, like... Put your, like, upcoming stuff or your ads in one of the lower corners of the screen. That's what that's for. Or make it like 1/4 of the screen. Taking up a whole third, I can't see who's wrestling.
Well, as Triple H would say, fuck being a critic. Just be a fan. Don't have opinions.
No, Tony Khan, imagine Tony Khan and Triple H. They're just like, everything's great. Fuck you for being a critic. I'm a critic. Everything's great. I'm a critic, but everything I see is great because it's great.
Yeah, and then...
Well, and no one would learn anything.
But Tony usually uses his professional Muppet Meltzer to do most of his talking for him. He needed a Bruce Pritchard and chose Dave Meltzer. So...
Dear God.
Now we're back, and now we're up to Brody King and Swerve, and the first thing I wrote down is, now we're back to the AEW I remember.
Yeah.
That whole match that Moxley somewhat had that I somewhat liked, that was confusing the fuck out of me. I'm like, this ain't the show I'm used to watching. Now we're back. As Nana's talking shit, which was funny. And then Tony Schiavone goes, "Wow, what a crowd." That's number 3 on the shut up Schiavone counter.
Wouldn't be the first one in this match.
Now, then we get a backbreaker on the apron after a turnbuckle bow and arrow, which looked rough.
Mm-hmm.
The bow and arrow was nice, but the backbreaker on the apron did not look good.
Not at all.
It looked dangerous. Bad.
Am I crazy, or is Brody King not super great?
You can't tell with a match like this.
Yeah, well,
this match was structured horribly.
Yeah, well, for one, I was thinking they were having a no count-out match because they should have been counted out like 12 times. They were out of the ring for the majority of the match, from the beginning of the match. And then after they've been outside the ring for like an hour. And then at a point, Tony Schiavone says the ref is being very lenient with his count. No kidding, Tony. You don't say.
Well, and this is why I was so thrown, because I'm like, this is the match I see from Moxley. They're out on the floor for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody says anything. Nobody does shit. The referee just kind of stays there. Bryan Danielson just says, or no, Tony says, well, that referee's doing a good job of being lenient and trying to give him credit. And Bryan Danielson's like, that's a good call. I'm like, you all need Jesus. Swerve does a power bomb to Brody King on the apron. That was impressive. In the 450th apron spot on the show.
It was impressive until you realized that Swerve was supposed to be selling his back because of the Uranagi backbreaker that didn't look great on the apron. That he was trying to sell his back, and then you immediately do a deadlift on someone as fat as Brody King.
Because he's just so tough.
Or because of what you said earlier, the structure of this match was ass.
Well, I said this match isn't for me. I'm zoning out. There's a vertebreaker on the floor that doesn't do it.
No.
But a random jumping kick to the back of the head does. Fuck off.
No, I literally messaged the group chat fuck off at this point because it gives him the vertebreaker on the cement.
And that was kick outable. But a kick to the back of the head was what did it.
No, like
that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
No, it was what irritated the crap out of me was this whole match. They've been fighting on the floor for like 3 days, and the referee has not started counting. He gives him a vertebreaker on the cement, gets back in the ring, and I'm like, oh, so now the man's paralyzed, and now you're counting. Where have you been this whole match? Like, did the referee just gain was this the referee that got mowed down in OVW? Did he just regain consciousness and remember, oh yeah, I have to count when they're outside the ring? And then he gets back in the ring, and then he gives him the swerve stomp, and then he kicks out again, and I'm just like, fuck all of you. And then he kicks him one more time, and that's the finish. And then, and yeah, I'm also like, that's stupid. But at this point, I'm like, thank God, at least it's over.
But it wasn't over.
No, because we had to have another return.
Because then they're going to try and cinder block the son of a bitch. And here comes Kenny Omega, which is 4 out of 5.
And that was when I messaged the group chat. There has been a return or a debut or someone attacking someone. There's been a post-match angle after just about every match. Why?
It's true. And really, when you think about it, the women's tag match kind of was a post-match angle.
Sure.
When you count the pre-shows, so you kind of could say it was like 5 for 5.
And speaking of referees, another thing I forgot to mention because my brain capacity is failing me. Also, I'm pretty sure Rick Knox's son was calling that women's tag team match because he stayed in that one corner of the ring the entire women's tag team match. I realized the match lasted about 10 seconds, but he did not move from that spot at all, and it was basically just a tornado tag.
Yeah, it wasn't needed. So it was what it was.
God, I hate this show. This show was horrendous.
Then we get Chris Statlander versus Tekla.
The only good wrestling match on this show.
And this was fine. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It had probably the best finish of anything on the main show.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was structured fine. It was fine. I was kind of burnt at this point.
Too.
I was a bit burnt out.
Me too, but they actually drew me into this match because, like, honestly, this was like the first thing that I watched that I was like, oh, wrestling. Wrestling is happening before me.
Yeah.
What have I been watching the previous 12 hours? I have no idea.
And it actually lasted. Unlike Moxley's match where it started well and then Takeshita kind of led it through Moxley's bullshit to come and hit a landing of some description.
Also,
this actually had structure throughout it.
You know who was really the star of this match? Tekla. Tekla is great. I thought she was very good. Chris Statlander was fine. She held up her end of the bargain. But man, Tekla's mannerisms, the way she just moves around, her moveset that perfectly complements her character. Her entrance was badass. Just everything about her is great, in my opinion.
I'm gonna try not to ruin that for you when I say what I'm about to say.
Oh no.
She reminds me of a young Eastern European Becky Lynch. Before she got monotonous the way she is now and we all got wickedly burnt out of her.
Yeah.
But the way that the first pinfall happened, I think kind of like the aura that she had in her entrance, even though it was a little bit more like Karrion Kross metallic, I guess would be the way I'd put it. Again, she's about Becky's size. She's definitely got personality.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And she knows when to insert it. Again, before we all got burnt out with Becky to the bone, this reminds me of right before like Becky was really gonna get hot, Becky Lynch. But Eastern European, which I think is hotter. But it's kind of lateral to me. But in any case, because I have a little bit of both in me, but never mind. I was gonna say something else, but these two but to be fair, both ladies did a good job here. You know, this isn't overwhelming. It was fine. I don't know how much I love the spider superplex. The only reason why is that you don't really have any ability to help control the way your opponent lands. So I don't know how safe it is, depending on, like, she couldn't do that to Nia Jax. Well, nobody can do anything to Nia Jax, but she couldn't do that.
I was about to say.
But all I'm saying is that if something went sideways, it'd be hard to say that it wasn't based on the angle of that suplex.
Sure.
It was fine here, but I just see potential for danger there.
What really got me through this was they were really telling an actual story of, even though Chris is bigger and taller than Tekla, she is, like, it is a struggle for her to figure Tekla out and trying to keep up with her. And Tekla just being one step ahead of her constantly. They did a very good job of that throughout the entire match.
Yeah, and Statlander, I think that she's better than I think AEW has ever presented her as. And so, and I think that also helps as well. I mean, there's a day Chris Statlander does the swings into the barricade from that's another one of the ones that Becky likes to do. That's why I was laughing, because I'm like, I recognize all these spots because Becky does them. I'm like, this can't be on purpose. There's no way this is on purpose, but this is but I don't mean that as a negative, by the way. I hope that's understood. That, like, younger Becky, when she was really getting hot, she was one of the best women's wrestlers in the world at that time. So I mean that complimentarily so in terms of Tekla. There was the Black Widow went into the tombstone and were tied.
That I loved the finish for that fall. That was a very good fall.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. It was well countered. I thought that was neat. And again, Tony kind of, again, catering to my sensibilities, we get 30-second grace periods, which I thought worked for both falls. As when the first one, when Chris Statlander, the second that bell ring, charged right at Tekla.
And blasted her through the ropes.
Yeah, so it works. It works if you can do it right, and I thought that they did. And that 30-second grace period added to the match. Then this made me laugh.
Oh no.
Tekla pushes Chris Statlander into Paul Turner, and he leaps out of the ring.
Yeah.
That Tekla goes down and starts pulling the belt out of Paul Turner, and collectively, the entirety of Los Angeles was like, whoa!
Even I was like, I knew what she was doing because of the video package and how they, like, described the feud coming up, and I knew what they were going for, but it still looked weird.
But when the camera zoomed in on his crotch and she was doing it, I was like, whoa!
That out of context right there. It zoomed in on his crotch while she was doing it.
Listen, I know the San Fernando Valley's not that far away, but I don't think we need to be doing that here on this program.
Damn, Tekla! All right.
I'm just saying, it got real tight up here.
Just a little bit.
And she pulled the belt up, and then she held the belt up and walked away, and the crowd was kind of like, Like, they were just, like, the slightest bit disappointed. It was very strange.
Yes.
But then, see, tries to use the belt, but then this finish was, I loved this finish.
Mm-hmm.
This was crafty, which makes me think Tony had nothing to do with it. So, the referee's still down. Chris Statlander gets the belt, starts whipping the shit out of Tekla. Then in comes Tekla's Goonies, who Chris Statlander then also fights off with the belt. And right as Chris Statlander is about to kind of do the finishing blow onto Tekla, the referee, Paul Turner, grabs the belt and pulls it back because he didn't know, as was stated, who assaulted him. And it was Statlander that... Statlander wasn't the buck. Yes, quite literally. I didn't... The phrasing indeed. That's right. We are 2.5 hours in, and we have 5 more matches to talk about. But in any case, so they made a good call because it was, Tekla pushed Chris into Paul, so it would have made sense for him to take it away from her. And then when they did, that's when the cheating happened, and Tekla gets a spear and 2 curb stomps and finishes it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? For what that match could have been, I was dreading what the finish of that third fall was going to be because I thought it was going to be bullshit. And it ended up being one of the most comprehensive, or at least coherent, finishes I've seen on an AEW pay-per-view I don't watch AEW pay-per-views, but maybe one of the most coherent in a minute.
This, I thought, was by far, nothing even close. This was the best thing on the entire show.
I would say the case is made for, because he didn't, on the main show, I think there's a good case to be made for it. And now, here we are.
And then...
Trio, now one of 2 6-man tag matches on the night. Now, I know this is...
Okay, this was the conversation we had in the group chat. I was like, when the women's tag was coming up, I was like, so should I skip the women's tag or the 6-man tag? And then you replied, well, there's 2 6-man tags. And I said, what? No!
What I said was...
Why?
No, what I said was, no, skip the second one. And you were like, the second
one?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? There's a... What? Neither of us... We both hate AEW, but we don't hate them enough. I skipped this one.
And I skipped the other one. Fair's fair.
Oh, God.
It's Okada, Mark Davis, and Kyle Fletcher versus Mystico and Jet Speed, which is Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey.
That just sounds gross.
Well, I would love to see what Kevin Knight could do in a singles match. I would love to see what Mystico could do. Maybe. I would love to see what Kyle Fletcher could do with somebody who could actually help him be the person he could be. And Mark Davis doesn't look too bad. I don't really know much about his work, but I liked his look. He looks like an old school wrestler, so that counts for something for me. It scores some points for me. But I don't know if he's any good based on what I've seen here. You can't judge any of these guys based on what I see here. And Okada looks like he is wholly disinterested in what he's doing. He looks like he is I am just in it for the paycheck.
I do not blame him. He is to AEW what Nakamura is to WWE. He's just there for the paycheck, and when something piques his interest, then he'll try a little more.
Yeah, and this wasn't it. Mystico and Okada start this match with the softest SpongeBob weightlifting set collar and elbow tie-up I have ever seen. It literally made the squeak noise when the weight set hits the mat. It was something. Jet Speed were wearing Mystico masks, because that's real cute. Mike Bailey looks better with the mask on. Kyle Fletcher rubs the mask on his crotch because they took him off. There was a double arm drag Rana off the rope that Mystico nearly killed himself on. And both people who he did it to. Bailey did a head slap tag onto Mystico. There was a series of pointing, and then there was an argument over who has a prettier dropkick between Okada and Kevin Knight. I wrote down, this match is boring as fuck. I'd like to see everyone but Okada and Bailey in singles matches. And then it ended. The show has returned to the doldrums. And then it said Mystico is all elite, and they played some sort of weird music. They played some music that I wasn't a fan of, as everyone was clapping that Mystico is all elite, so he's been absorbed into this friendship group. And their celebration lasted forever. Like 10 minutes. Like, it was long. It was like absurdly long.
Oh, Lord.
For what this match was, which was a trios titles, it was for the trios titles, and yeah, they changed hands. But this celebration, I mean, WrestleMania main event, Super Bowls don't get this much celebration airtime.
I hate that the trios titles are still a thing.
And boy, this match bored the fuck out of me. There were moves in it, I couldn't tell you a single one right off the top of my head. I didn't skip that match, but I may as well have, because it just erased out of my brain. But thankfully, we had an epic Lucha contest to follow it up with.
Dude, when this match started, and when things started happening that started pissing me off, I quickly messaged the group chat, I skipped the wrong match. Fuck me.
Yeah.
Okay, it was Andrade versus Bandildo. For not the ROH World Title. For some reason.
This was just a match.
This was just a match. This was a Dynamite match on a pay-per-view.
One non-title match on the whole show.
Why? I don't... I have... my head hurts. I absolutely hated the first half of this match. The next fourth of the match was fine, and I actually kind of liked the last, 2 minutes, minute and a half, where it actually started to pick up. But by and large, thumbs down.
Yeah, the first thing I wrote down is, this is gonna suck. And it kind of did.
For the most part, it did. Dude, all right, well, Sean, have you ever heard of the phrase "dumb babyface syndrome"?
Go on.
I think it was pretty clear that Bandito was the babyface in this match. So, before we get to the thing that was weirdly so over in this match for some reason, and I don't know why. Okay, apparently Bandito's gimmick, other than Lucha, yay. His gimmick is that he takes off his pants and the crowd goes, yay! But he was taking off his pants, and 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 he wouldn't stop, and it was taking forever, and he was milking the crap out of it, and then Andrade was like, you know what, screw this, and then just mowed him down, and it made Bandito look like the biggest dumbass on planet Earth.
Continue.
That was it. Pain. Are you playing an instrument?
Well, I'm about to, because there's something that happened that was a disaster for, unfortunately, both of them. Both Andrade and Bandito.
Oh, no.
When they ripped their pants. And everybody on my side. No, I got the wrong chord. I'm sorry.
That was kudos.
I went and blew it all sky high.
Dude.
Both the song and the pants.
The first half of this match was, I'll rip my pants again!
Yes.
Which, if I was watching a comedy wrestling show, I might have been in the mood for it, but 3 days into an AEW pay-per-view where I'm already miserable and angry and hate the world I live in, I was not in the mood for this. This was not the time.
It was just, you were not down for pants being, concealed boners? Andrade has 2 words for Skylar Greenberg. Red undies.
I will say, before Andrade took his pants off, his, weird white and red... okay.
I love the out of context. We need to do an out of context moment for CMP over the past 3 episodes because we've got some gems of out of context stuff before Andrade took his pants off.
Yes, this has been the most out of context compilation podcast we've ever done. But his outfit, the white and red snowboarding suit, it looked cool.
We didn't need the Iron Cheek boner afterwards.
No, we didn't. We didn't need his red his red underwear. The white snowboarding outfit looked cool, but when he took his pants off and started flirting with women, which him flirting with women is a good heat spot.
Bad acting women.
Yes.
She's like, ooh, I'm so turned on. Do a selfie with me like you told me to do.
Not just her, both of them, because he did it twice.
Both of them.
Which, as not good of an actress as either of them are, that's a good heat spot for a heel.
Yes, I like the concept of that.
Also, you want to talk about Andrade out of context clips? How about before the match even started and he took his shirt off and threw it in the crowd and Don Callis is like, well, women are going to want to catch his sweat-drenched shirt and drink the liquid.
He hasn't even glocked up yet.
And I'm just like...
already to see a doctor.
And I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Don.
But I will say, I agreed with Don Callis on one thing, and the more that I've thought about this, the more I think this was a shoot, quite honestly. So, Bandito, I don't know how he got into this, but he's got Andrade waist locked. Mm-hmm. And he runs backwards and releases this German suplex, and Andrade's head hits the back of the bottom turnbuckle. Mm-hmm. And when that happened, before I saw or heard Don Callis, I'm like, oh, fuck no. If that, again, I hate to grandstand it like we did with the OVW stuff, but if I had been in the back, I would have told Bandito, if first of all, if he wasn't fighting Andrade in the back for that, I would have told Bandito, yeah, I better never see you do that again unless you know for a fact that you are nowhere near the turnbuckle. That is dangerous as fuck to do that. And no sooner was I saying that out loud in my basement that Don Callis leaves the booth, I think, to shoot checkup on Andrade. And then he basically said to the effect of what I just said, that it's reckless as fuck to do that German. I'm like, I agree. The more I think about that, the more I think that was a shoot. I think he got pissed that happened, and I don't blame him.
Yeah.
But then there was a cool back waist Pele by Bandito.
That was really cool. That was honestly when the match actually started turning around for me.
Yeah, that was the only thing. Oh, wait, let me forget. We have a lot of Edsturbation after that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. First it was pants. What are pants? This is the match about pants and why it's fun to rip them in front of a crowd. Then we had Eddie Guerrero was great one time, and I'm just like, it has been almost 21 years. This is why Lucha doesn't get over in America. Because people cannot let it go.
They won't let him just be dead. Just won't.
I will say this. You know who my favorite luchador is right now?
Tell me.
Penta, and it's not even close. Well, Ray, but Ray's hurt. active luchador who's wrestling and not injured. Penta. Because Penta in WWE...
Oh, isn't he?
Huh? Yeah, he's the
didn't he?
He's the Intercontinental Champion. Well, no, he's not injured. He's the Intercontinental Champion. He actually, I think he has a match. He might have a match tonight.
Working with an injury? I saw that somewhere. Maybe he's better now, but I saw that he was working with something regardless.
Well, either way, I love Penta because
he's deep right now.
Because he does his own thing. He doesn't do the Edsturbation nonsense. He doesn't do what every other luchador does. He has his own look. He has his own personality. He's cool. He has his own charisma. He's not just luchador number 345 of the week. Like, if there's any luchador that has a shot, a prayer of becoming anywhere near as popular as Rey Mysterio in the States, it's going to be Penta, and that's because Penta does Penta.
Simple as that.
Exactly. But no, we have these two morons fighting over each other's pants, out of context goldmine right there, and Edsterbating constantly in the year of our Lord 2026.
In this moment, it made me think, like, who are the people that don't shimmy before frog splashes? And I could only come up with two names. Rob Van Dam and Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's it. Sasha Banks did it. Logan Paul does it. Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio is the only one I think who should do it.
Yes.
But everybody else does the shimmy. And nobody has the right to except Dominic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just... it doesn't mean anything anymore.
It's not that it doesn't mean anything. It actively takes away from your own stock.
Yeah, it's why Nick Nemeth could never break the shadow of Shawn Michaels.
Exactly. Because you're thinking, Shawn Michaels was great that one time, instead of thinking about what's happening right in front of you.
But instead of affecting just one wrestler, it's affected literally an entire genre subsection of professional wrestling, which is insane to think about. But then we get a springboard German pin, which would have been a great finish if it was one.
Okay, all right, that right there. It was a negative and a positive. It wasn't a positive that was born from a negative like earlier. But I liked that Bandito was like, I want to go for my flipping German suplex finish, but he's laying down because I killed him. Which makes you think, well, if you killed him, flip him over and pin him, you dumbass. Which I think they even said that on commentary. But I liked his solution where it was like, I'm just going to do my flip suplex while he's laying down. And he got it anyway. That would have been an awesome finish. But no, we don't do finishes here in AEW. And then he did his torture rack weird kick thing again. Or into the go to sleep kind of again. And freaking nailed Andrade with it. And then even the commentators are like, pin him, what are you doing? But no, this moron, dumb babyface, or dumb professional wrestler syndrome is like, I'm going to do my flip German suplex again. I hate these people.
Are you listening, Freddy Krueger? Okay, that's enough CW.
Do you remember Jim Cornette's whole thing about Caval, where Caval had that match with a dude and he like did this amazing looking kick and like actually knocked him out and it looked fantastic and it would have made him, but then Caval was low key. I'm sorry, I'm in WWE mode. But then low key was like, no, but we've got more shit to do. And Jim Cornette's like, you idiot! You knocked him out, pin him, and you're made. But no, you got to do more shit. That's what that made me think of.
Yeah, that's been a theme. That's how we started the program.
Yes.
Gotta get the shit in. And then Andrade wins it with his thing. The crowd was kind of for this whole thing. You would have thought with a kind of a hot Latino market like LA has that it would have been more invested. But no, it was kind of just meh. And I think that they miss having the clear babyface and heels because it wasn't really sure who was who and why.
And
fighting. Because I didn't really quite understand that either.
And the belt wasn't, and also the belt wasn't on the line. They were watching a non-title match on pay-per-view. Why?
Yeah, with all the titles that Tony's got, an odd choice. A very odd choice.
And literally the only thing the crowd reacted to was pants.
And Andrade nearly being concussed by a running German that Don Callis ran over to make sure he was okay on. So, it's your turn to review a six-man tag, because this one I skipped. The floor be yours.
One last complaint. Bandito is a stupid name. I'm sorry. I know that some people on the internet like him and think he's talented. This is the first match I've ever watched of him, and I wasn't terribly impressed. But Bandito's a stupid name.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I mean, again, he had, the springboard German pin is great, and that looks good, and you could do maybe something with that. But yeah, I don't really see it.
So we had the match that Sean skipped, and it was a 6-man tornado tag. It actually was. It wasn't bad until it started going on forever. There was a point to it at a point, and then they reneged on the point, and then the point was lost, and then they ended the match, and I was like, fuck. But anyway, so it was Darby Allin, Roderick Strong, and Orange Cassidy, who's still doing the same stupid gimmick in... Fuck.
That's why I passed on this match. Purely for him. I'm not going through that shit again.
Versus David Finlay, Gabe Kidd, and... who was the other guy? Clark Connors, who I actually kind of like, even though I forgot his name briefly. This was fine. There was actually a bit of strategy on the heel side, which made me kind of feel, oh, you have my attention. Because, Darby Allin's all super emo, he has the chain around his neck, because, at some point he might accidentally or purposefully kill himself, we don't know. So they actually... They took him over to one of the corners of the ring, and you know how you have the tag rope?
Yes.
They tied his chain necklace to the tag rope, so he was stuck by his neck in the corner. So they would take turns beating on him, and then they would go beat up his tag team partners, and he couldn't help them because he was stuck by his neck in the tag rope in the corner. That was an interesting dynamic of the match, and I actually really liked that. And, but before that, right before they could do that, there was a spot where I nearly jumped out of my seat. Darby Allin was on the apron, and he was about to do something. And a wild, and I mean wild, Clark Connors comes through. Fuck off.
It's a 3-hour podcast.
I'm
just laughing from pure insanity. We haven't even gotten to the Texas death yet.
Clark Connors.
That's him.
At 100 and... when you play Sonic and you hit the shoe power-up that makes you go even faster?
Yes.
This dude hit the shoe power-up. He was booking it, and he nearly cleaved Darby Allin in half with the most brutal-looking apron spear I've ever seen.
Oh, I can kind of visualize it. Knowing the way that Darby takes bumps, I can kind of visualize it.
It was it looked safe, but nasty. It was snug.
Well, do you mean safe or Darby Allin safe?
Darby Allin safe.
Oh, okay, yeah, got you. Which means it's not, but Darby somehow is able to take it.
Yes, because he's a rubber band person. But yeah, that looked fantastic. That was honestly one of the best spots on the entire show because of how just the intensity of it. But then they tied him to the corner, and that actually built the dynamic of the match. And then they ruined it because as they were building heat by having Darby tied in the corner and beating up his friends, then Orange Cassidy comes over and starts doing instead of the fake leg kicks, he starts doing the really, really weak fake chest slaps, and the crowd starts going, "Oh!" And my interest in the match died.
No, I bet.
But one thing happened that I did like. Every time he did that, the person he did it to, like, hit him hard and stiff, knocked him on his ass. So I was like, yeah! And then he got back up, and then he did another really light chest slap, and then got knocked on his ass, and got back. It happened over and over and over again. And then Roderick Strong got back in the ring and started giving everyone backbreakers because that's his favorite thing. And then Orange Cassidy went over and got some scissors and cut the tag rope, freeing Darby Allin. And then it just broke down to a schmoz. Darby Allin does the best suicide dive in all of wrestling because he puts everything into it.
Throws his entire ass into it.
And he took Gabe Kidd up the stage and used, what are those, it's not handcuffs, it's, that thing that Lyra Valkyria accidentally broke out of in the match with Bayley at Summer. The wrist tie thing.
Yeah, zip ties.
He zip tied him to the stage, kind of like how he was tied to the turnbuckle, so it was kind of a turnabout is fair play thing. I like that. So he tied one of the heels to the stage, so he physically couldn't get back to the ring. And then they pinned Clark Connors with moves. So there was some stuff, like, honestly, if Orange Cassidy did not exist and they replaced him with literally anyone else, this would have been actually pretty decent. It felt like a Dynamite match because it was, but still, it was like I liked the full circle thing of you tied me to something so I couldn't help my friends, so I'm gonna tie you to something so you can't help your friends when we win. I liked that. There was at least a little bit of story there.
Well, it's definitely, a cool-down match leading up to the main event, even though they kind of sold it as something larger than that. But considering what this main event was going to be, I mean, it's just a shame that Orange Cassidy has done nothing different.
Yep.
He is the exact same that he was 6 years ago when this whole debacle started.
Yeah.
Turning into 7 years.
And it's great. Like, I honestly kind of liked what they were doing with him because a couple of years ago when he was the international champion and his thing was, I'm going to be the international champion, I'm going to defend it every week. And week after week, you could tell he was getting more and more ground down because his title matches were brutal. And then he actually started to, be a little more serious. And he would do this thing where he would start doing the play kicks, but get pissed and start kicking and punching for real. So I was like, are they actually, like, turning him serious?
No.
And then they stopped, and now he's just regular Orange Cassidy again, and now that whole thing just was for nothing, I guess.
Like most of AEW's booking.
Yes.
It's just didn't really matter.
Nope, not at all.
And you can't even use the Linkin Park song to describe AEW because I really don't think you tried so hard.
No.
Or got so far.
No. You haven't.
In the end, it didn't even matter.
No, we're trying hard, staying awake watching this show and talking about it for 3 hours. But well, Sean, we have arrived at our main event.
Oh my God. Final fucking lead. In a Los Angeles death match.
Dude.
It's a last man standing between Maxwell Jacob Friedman and Adam Page. And if Adam Page loses, he will never be able to wrestle for the AEW Championship again. Thank fucking Christ.
I know, right? But also, it's wrestling, so never say never. I hated this match. It was the same hardcore backyard outlaw mud show CZW light garbage that AEW does on every pay-per-view that they've ever produced, except this one was extra excruciating because it went on for 41 minutes.
For fucking ever.
You put this show on 1.5 speed. I thought I was watching this show on 0.5.
This took so long. If you had cut this match in half, with half of the bullshit in it,
yes,
you might have had something here.
Yes.
but this was excruciatingly bad.
How many GIFs did I send the group chat, basically all saying, "End already"?
A lot.
My God.
I still want to like Max, but you can't.
He's so stale.
I'm not saying MJF is a reason that AEW is failing, but I don't necessarily think he's contributing to its success either anymore.
I did like the little hype package where he peed on Hangman Adam Page's gravestone.
That was pretty funny. That did make me laugh.
That was funny. I like that.
When I saw the Terry Funk poncho, I knew exactly what he was going to wear. But then my thought was when that was airing, they did a shot of Page who was emotionless and was like, shouldn't Adam Page be kind of pissed at AEW for producing that for Max? Like, what the fuck? You're going to produce something for Max where he pees on my grave? Fuck you.
Shouldn't you be pissed at... Like, he didn't look like... He looked like he was like, what are you going to do? Dude, be pissed at Max, at least.
Yeah. But he's only... I don't think any of the emotions that Adam Page has are real. None of them. Like, actually none of them. Because they never convey them or translate to matches. No. It's only when he has this, like, theatrical promo time that he ever has the fire. And why the fuck does he always bedazzle his jeans? It is you want to be cowboy shit, but you are a shit cowboy.
Yes.
Because there is not a single solitary cowboy I have ever known, or anyone who has ever liked that kind of stuff I've ever seen bedazzle their jeans. Big ass belt buckles? Sure.
Dude.
Give me a jeweled ass belt buckle. There is plenty of that. But the jeans? Nah.
Dude, MJF in that 30-second vignette where he peed on his grave, he was more of a cowboy than Hangman Adam Page is.
Yes, quite literally.
And I'm not exaggerating.
It's, I'd later as that Brokeback Adam Page makes Keith Urban more. But in any case...
All right.
But this is where we're at. Welcome to the third hour. We need pyro. This is the third hour of CIW. And CMP, I don't even know what show we're doing anymore.
No.
Welcome to the Totally Awesome Podcast. Have you tapped out yet?
No, we did. We have multiple times. But it won't stop. But it won't.
Our break did about an hour and a half ago.
Unfortunately, there are no submissions in this match.
Not a single solitary one. Anyway, if you're going to do in-ring intros, at least do it for the one time, which is the world title. If you're going to do it at all, do it for the one that matters. Mm-hmm. I will give some points here for small formatting pluses that Tony does have.
Uh-huh.
So, yes, you are long past this point. But then there's this big-ass curtain blocking half of the crowd's vision. And thankfully, they pulled that curtain up right away. And speaking of right away, they are in the crowd.
Yep.
MJF crotched Page. Oh, then started running like a scalded dog. Boy, he's a real heel. Then he got a birthday card stapled to his chest.
And then Hangman Adam Page pulls out a window, and Tony Schiavone says, if Hangman hits MJF with that, MJF will be in a lot of pain. No way! Thank you for your insightful commentary, Tony Schiavone. If he hits him with a thing, that'll hurt. No, wow!
That's not even the worst one. We're not even at the worst ones.
Sean, did you know that if you hit a person with a thing, doesn't matter what that thing is, it would hurt? Did you know that?
Well, It's not well, there's some stupidity that happens right after that, because then Max, who otherwise is rather smart, but this didn't make no sense at all. He gets the window and he takes advantage of it, and he smashes the window in the center of the ring, and then throws the useless frame out saying, "I'm not doing that indie garbage." You broke the glass in the middle of the ring. You are so doing that indie garbage.
Also, one thing I did forget to mention, paper cut spots in wrestling is stupid, and I've had a paper cut. Yes, it hurts, but I'm sorry, but I was watching a grown man give another grown man a paper cut and a crowd going, "Oh!"
Because they're all toddlers. and the brain capacity of toddlers.
I hate this show so much, dude.
Then the show started with Perry and ends with Glass, and the two of us are crying them a river.
Yeah.
The tears be flowing. Then we get a barbed wire Joker smile pull.
That was actually a pretty gross visual, so I didn't mind that.
Max then uses a piece of glass and rips the forehead of Max.
And all of this would have looked way better if we already didn't see blood twice on the program earlier. You absolute brain-dead morons.
And then somebody screams out, "Do it again!" really loud. But then, this was my favorite part of the match. Coming up right here. Maxwell Jacob Friedman proved a long wrestling stereotype incorrect on this show. Maxwell Jacob Friedman pulls out a broom and sweeps the glass out of the ring and takes his sweet time doing it to make sure as much of that glass was out of there as possible. And I popped. And I was like, finally, a wrestler who knows how to use basic tools. And somebody started a sweep forever chant, which tickled the fuck out of me.
My thought process was,
I would have rather seen Maxwell Jacob Friedman sweep for an hour than this.
My thought was, I'm watching a janitor in the main event of this show now. First two grown men were giving each other paper cuts, and now I'm watching a dude sweep a floor. What am I doing with my life right now?
Oh, that did make me laugh, though, I have to say. And a push broom is a viable thing to have under the ring, by the way. At least that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then they, broke the broom and then used the sharpened broom to stab Paige with.
Yeah. Things that make sense.
But then the sense left, and the syringe came out, and there is no point to it. It is a parlor trick at best. You're not even injecting him with anything. You're just putting a needle through somebody's cheek, which hardly hurts. Which is the point. It's not even it's a parlor trick. It's not even devastating. It doesn't do anything. You're squirting the water out of his cheek just onto the mat. It's why do this?
This was the CZW part of the match, because I've seen this spot twice in CZW, and I would like CZW to remain out from in front of my viewing eyes and not
at least
on my screen.
CZW, there was some plausible deniability that there would be quite a lot of needles around that show.
And since it's CZW, I wouldn't want to be pricked with any of those needles.
Yeah, exactly, which were likely shared.
Likely confirmed.
As then Adam Page starts doing wrestling spots with the syringe in his mouth. I'm like, take the syringe out. And he did, and pulled out a bacon-wrapped chair. And
is this where Excalibur hit us with the line of the night?
Go on.
Okay, I don't even remember who hit who. Someone hit who with the chair. And Excalibur. At this point, Excalibur hadn't been bothering me that much. It was mostly just Tony Schiavone saying stupid things like, if he hits this guy with something, it'll hurt. No shit. Excalibur says, the science of a steel chair to the back. I literally screamed, what are you talking about? At the TV.
Oh, it got worse. It got worse. That wasn't even the one I was referencing.
That was
in the chat. I told Joshua there was going to be a commentary thing on the night that would make him scream, and that wasn't even the one I was referring to.
That was one that made me scream.
Yes. Well, then we get an Amidala / Alabama slam on the chair. Then we get a Deadeye on the chair. Then we get a fall-away slam on the chair and an oh fuck from Max. and then Bryan Danielson's talking about like spinal injuries and how the chair, landing on a chair is a good way to get spinal injuries, which meant and said nothing. And Tony Schiavone says, and I quote, I love the science of wrestling. Tony, go home. Please.
He is the worst.
I would take a blowjob from Michael Cole in a dark alley for 45 minutes straight over hearing you do commentary ever again.
He is
retire.
The worst. He is the worst commentator in professional wrestling.
By far. I would take Byron Saxton and Corey Graves having tea and crumpets for 6 hours on my television, arguing like an old married couple over Tony Schiavone saying anything.
I would honestly rather listen to Renee Moxley Good. Sorry, I also listen to a tad too much Cornette shitting on AEW. So I would rather listen to her sound like a cat being run over by a lawnmower for an hour than Tony. And what's funny is I was one of the first ones to be like, Tony sucks, bro. And Skylar doesn't even watch this shit anymore, but you have come to Tony is the actual worst dark side of the Force. And honestly,
because I've seen some WCW stuff and it wasn't better then.
No,
everyone thinks that he's better than he was. No, he was pretty much ass from the jump. It's just that he was able to cover it up a lot better when he had Jesse Ventura and Dusty Rhodes and Bobby the Brain Heenan next to him.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll like watching a clip from an old WCW show or an old WCW match, and Tony is still awful.
It's the same.
It's the same.
Oh, and Mike May and Larry Zabisco to other people who also carried Tony in WCW.
He's the same, but younger, but still somehow just as bad.
Yep. He's been Mandela affected into being one of the greats, but he's not. Then I have seen that Deadeye through the table so many times. I was like, why couldn't you have done the Crown of Thorns here instead of on a random ass rampage one day? If you're gonna do it to the Jew.
Oh my God, Sean.
That's not staying in.
It is on mine. Holy shit, Sean. This is a court-martial podcast first. For the first time, Sean will be censoring himself.
They're the ones who struck first with this thing. They're the ones who put the Crown of Thorns into this whole mix to begin with. Okay? I'm not the one who started this. But in any case...
Wow.
That was pretty... yeah. We're going to digest that. Hey, I work at a church, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, you sure do.
I know what I'm talking about, at least.
Yeah, a Christian one, not a Jewish one.
Yes. Well, actually...
I gotta get out of here.
Now that we're talking about this, could you imagine the blowback that they would get if they actually did do the Crown of Thorns with MJF? Just to steer this into a direction that takes the heat off me for a minute. Could you imagine?
In all honesty, I don't think AEW is popular enough for that to even be a blip on the radar. I don't think people would care.
OVW just had their
well,
there's a whole lot of nothing.
AEW would be a blip on the radar when someone either almost dies or actually dies. If WWE did that, like a Crown of Thorns spot, then yeah, I'm pretty sure people would be like, whoa. Who fucking, AEW is so desperate they brought in Ronda Rousey for God knows what reason. I don't think them doing that would really, they're not relevant enough for that to cause controversy. I could be wrong, but I don't think it would cause that much controversy.
Yeah, sadly, you might be right about that. I mean, what's the standard in AEW?
Yeah, they do dumb shit all the time.
But that's not to say that it wouldn't get blowback.
I mean, it might.
It absolutely would.
But this is also the same. We're literally talking about a match where a dude had a syringe through his cheek.
And that wasn't even the first time they've done that. I mean, somebody's been set on fire on this program.
Numerous times.
There was a flamethrower that was done. Yeah, what's too far for AEW? That really becomes an ultimate question when it comes to, I guess, having actual standards about the pro wrestling you do. CM Punk, how dare you?
Yeah.
But
by the way, skipping ahead a teeny bit, we had a CM Punk omission on this show because when Hangman pulled out the dog collars, the commentary was like, "This isn't the first time MJF has had a dog collar match at Revolution. Yeah, it was a couple years ago." Awkward ass silence.
They are such the jaded girlfriend.
Yes.
It is so sad.
Yes.
It's like, let it go. He's gone. It's over. It's like, you didn't need to do that.
All I could think was, you people are such pussies.
Well, here come the light tubes. After about 5 seconds of in-ring stuff. And then, this is the part I thought was going to make you scream. MJF gets a light tube. Adam Page gets a light tube. And Excalibur says, "Oh, this could be a duel of the fates here."
Yeah, I did yell, "Shut up, Excalibur," at the TV. But what made it really painful is when Tony Schiavone was like, "Those aren't lightsabers, kids."
Yeah.
No, you mean to tell me lightsabers aren't real, Tony Schiavone? I had no idea.
Yeah, I'm glad that we clearly did not get the joke from before.
Thanks, Tony.
But I was like, well, it can't be a duel of the fates if somebody doesn't have a double light tube.
That is true.
Which then I was like, it would be kind of cool to see somebody make a double light tube that lit by itself. But anyway, this thing gets whacked on the max, and every shard of glass stayed in his back.
Yeah.
And then here come the skewers, as this was just... And then I have another wrestling trope that I am entirely sick of, and I am infuriated with, and I am ready for it to be over with. So, everyone in wrestling is either in a dark place, has come from a dark place, or has been to dark places, or can tap into a dark place. Hasn't anybody just had like a normal upbringing with just regular, I get mad sometimes and I fight people, but that doesn't mean I'm a bad person. That doesn't mean I'm dark and brooding and foreboding. It's like, does everybody have to be from a dark place? Everybody's in dark places. You're using light tubes. That's why it's so dark. You're smashing light tubes against each other instead of putting them in the ceiling. Like, so I know you're not good with basic tools, but for God's sake, somebody get some lights into this wrestling building. Everybody's in a dark place, for fuck's sake. Ever since I was a little girl, I came from dark places. But then the dog collar comes out.
Yeah, and they're too scared to mention CM Punk.
Max has PTSD. Paige asks for a lighter and doesn't get one, so he gets a barbed wire board instead.
That was hilarious. The fact that the crowd, he pulled out another table, and the crowd started chanting, "We want fire!" First off, the crowd is full of idiots, which we already knew that because they're watching it. They paid to see an AEW show.
Yeah, they were in attendance for an AEW show.
You shouldn't be paying for that with your free time. But anyway, but the fact that, that wasn't the spot. They weren't going to do that. So at least Adam Page was like, "You got a lighter? Does anybody in this building have a lighter? Hey, miss, do you have a lighter? No? Then you get barbed wire."
Then we're going to do the spot that we planned. Thank you very much.
That was funny.
And so we get a barbed wire board instead. Page didn't even get close to sticking to that board as once he went through it. Then, okay, this is where I got annoyed. Joshua, I know we've been talking a lot about CIW lately and on this program, but I need to use this moment to make a point.
Okay. Proceed.
In CIW and TAW, there every so often an announce table breaks. And when the announce table breaks, you and I do a pretty decent job of without, I hate to break the kayfabe of it, of whapping our microphones across the room and diving out and making it seem like technology got affected. Is this not the case?
Just
this. Just like that.
My poor microphone.
Right? But that happens, I don't want to say with a level of frequency, but it does happen fairly occasionally.
Yeah. Occasionally. Welcome. We graduated from the Department of Redundancy Department, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. I cut my teeth and got my degree and brushed my teeth as well. But in any case, the point I want to make here is that when we do that, or if we say there's some sensitive equipment, there was even a show that I did on CIW where I said there's some really sensitive equipment underneath this table. If something happens in this table, it's not going to be good for the production. And then somebody went through the table and the feed cut off. Mm-hmm. So they're selling that there's this soundboard over on the side of the stage. That's some real sensitive equipment they got over there. It would be real bad for production if they throw somebody through the soundboard. So Adam Page decides to fall underneath Maxwell Jacob Friedman through this sound equipment.
Which looked horrible, by the way. It looked so contrived and stupid.
Which looked awful. They go through it. And then, there's the explosion and the extra sparks. And everybody sounded crystal clear. There was not a single blip in the audio. I was like, wow, that for a really extravagant and necessary soundboard, everybody's sounds pretty damn good. Almost like it was unaffected entirely by the sound of this.
You lied to us.
You couldn't have even just unplugged your XLRs or just laid out or shut the mics off from the commentary. Something to sell that actually was sensitive equipment, rather than just having a soundboard there, sputtering sparks, nowhere near the two people. I don't know. Why is it that in two morons reviewing this show with e-feds can sell equipment failure better than a multi-million-dollar company?
Sean, you want to know what's absolutely tragic? This is the second pay-per-view in a row where you have asked me, why are we doing this better than company that we're talking about? Because we did that after we reviewed, I think it was after we reviewed Elimination Chamber, where you said almost the exact same thing, and you're saying it again now, except about a different company.
And it makes me wonder, because we've talked about, is there oh God, are we going to have to show these bitches up again so they steal our content to make wrestling better? Because that's what they did last time. We gave them 3 seasons of material, and they ran out of that material, and now they need to be throwing a bone again. But I want to get paid this time, though.
Yes.
We're going to revive our fantasy stuff for them to steal. I want them to actually give us some consideration. Anyway, So they drag Max back like a dog. There's a low blow on a buckshot. Then there's a belt shot. Then a reciprocated low blow and a belt shot. And then they didn't shoot this well when it happened, but they did a good job demonstrating what happened after the fact. So I will give them a bit of a compliment sandwich here. Hangman tries to go for another buckshot, and Max runs up and hits him with the ring that you don't really see with the way it's shot.
Mm-hmm.
And then Max just literally hangs the Hangman. And then drops Hangman, and Hangman's head hits the camera lens, and this just big pool of blood just ends up on the camera, which I thought, I don't know whether you did that on purpose, but it did sell the moment.
Yeah.
Would have sold it better 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But
I will say it was a very good visual.
It was a great visual, and then, Paige is out. Max is laying down the center of the ring. He's got the ring in his hand, and they show the ring. Like, here's the smoking gun. This is what did it. And then everybody was able to put it together from there, and that's when the boos really started for Max.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was a gnarly finish. If this match were half as long with half of the bullshit, it could have been okay. But like AEW, as usual, they cannot help but fill.
When the bell rang and the match was over, I was like, thank merciful God. That was excruciating.
It wasn't great. The only positive out of this is that we never have to see Adam Page in the world title picture, at least for several years, I'd imagine. Because Tony's the kind of guy who's just kayfabe himself enough to take his own stipulations seriously. So I think to some degree we may never see Adam Page wrestle for the world title again. Who knows?
I wish we would never see Adam Page wrestle again, but that's just wishful thinking.
I know, but I have a feeling they're going to have another feud with him and Swerve before it's all said and done. But with any case, my back hurts. What's there left to say? Do you have anything else to say about this title match? Max retains. The show is over.
Pain, agony, despair, discomfort, unease, downtrodden, crestfallen, sad.
Yeah. Well, it is sad because this is what's supposed to be the competition. This is what's supposed to be number 2 to wrestling. Instead, it made number 2 and took a big old dump all over everything. And then that's just the way it is. And so let's get to ratings here. And I will lead this one off because I always go last, and I'm not gonna this time. For me, this was a tale of two shows. There was the pre-show and then the rest of it. And there were 2 matches on the pre-show that were great. Max and Takeshita wasn't terrible, and the best of 3 falls had its moments with a good finish. The finishes on this show were not terrible. Well, not all of them. Some of them actually made some coherent sense, and I'm not used to that from AEW. So there was a better hit rate than normal, but better than 0 is still bottom percentile. It's kind of just sad to me that, like, I wanted to check in on AEW hoping that with the vibes being bad in WWE, like, are they doing anything to capitalize on this? And sadly, I do think that Tony is trying here by all of these returns, even though the Ronda Rousey one makes no sense. But the problem is this show is trademark reasons why AEW is not capable of growing. And truthfully, being stagnant or less than that is not going to save you from or Warner Discovery from being bought out and ultimately phased out when WWE comes and bitching to Paramount that they're airing anything related to non-WWE programming. So enjoy it while it lasts, AEW fans, because I don't know what the future of AEW's television time is going to end up being. And the sad thing is, I feel like what I've given here by AEW standards is still insanely generous. But that's because I was very high. It was a very sped up show. And there were some things I tried so hard to like. It's a Bret Hart 4 out of 10 from me.
All right, it is now my turn. This is the first AEW show I have watched at all since All In last year. And this show did nothing but remind me of why. Over and over and over. The production, while not at its worst on this night, is still not great. They do way too much, way too often. It's way too long. The commentary, specifically Tony Schiavone, is awful. It's just a fever dream of a wrestling show that does not end. And honestly, it was painful at points to sit through this show.
Yeah, it was. It really was. Even at 1.5 speed, it was painful.
It was boring. So painfully boring because all of the, oh my god, I can't believe they just did that crazy shit, is stuff I've seen them do over and over and over again. I've already seen the syringe spot. I've already seen the spikes on the head spot. I've already seen the Young Bucks versus FTR. I've already seen Jon Moxley be immobile with a Japanese dude. I've already seen Edge return and team up with Christian against FTR. Basically everything on this show I've already seen before 100 bajillion times. I haven't seen two Mexicans rip their pants and make a crowd moist. Weird. Very weird. I haven't seen that, but it didn't mean I enjoyed it. This show was horrible. I hated this show. I should have known what I was in for when I turned it on and immediately pyro punches and a Canadian Destroyer 10 seconds in. That should have been a bad omen. Oh, this was rough, dude. The Revolution is never one of their strong shows. It just never
always
is.
One of the worst.
It's always one of the worst. I hated the show. I liked the 2 out of 3 falls match between Tekla and Chris Statlander. That was good. Everything else, thumbs down. I hated this. I give this show a 2 out of 10. It was a complete and total waste of a Monday.
Yeah, I felt the same. And my back hurts.
Yes.
My back hurts. I've got gas. I'm bloated. And I've watched people working with children. And that is the way that AEW is and always will be. But
well,
folks,
at least you got to see one of those children get pie-faced into a barricade.
That was my favorite part of the whole show. Anyone go back and watch that? And you know what? Props to you, Rizzler. You didn't have to do that, but I know that you're probably the one who wanted to do that. So props to you for getting involved and doing something physical for the sake of the moment. And it was a hell of a moment. And folks, you can take that lovely image with you all the way to the bank, the pain bank. And I'm going to go take an Epsom salt bath, and we'll be right back right after this.
And thank you guys for listening to the Totally Awesome Podcast. I'm going to take one of my sleeping pills that I bought yesterday, and hopefully I'll lose consciousness in a couple minutes. So good night, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. See, hopefully we'll have better shit for you next time. Pray for us.